including some true freshmen. So there's a lot of obstacles to overcome, but I know Coach Knoll and the Dons keep fighting, and they're so close to making that turn, to turn the corner, so to speak, and maybe a win here tonight against a very good Middle Tennessee State team that comes at 9-4. It could be a springboard.
And kind of copy that a little bit.
Compounding the problem is the fact that this is an incredibly young basketball team. It's hard to really think about it when you think of David Simon as the only senior and Quentin Butler as the only junior. Everyone after that, sophomore and freshman, including some true freshmen. So there's a lot of obstacles to overcome, but I know Coach Knoll and the Dons keep fighting, and they're so close to making that turn, to turn the corner, so to speak, and maybe a win here tonight against a very good Middle Tennessee State team that comes at 9-4. It could be a springboard.
Yeah, it could. And you know, you look at guys like Quentin Butler and David Simon, and you know, where were they this summer? You know, and it's, you got to build off your go-to guys. And with Dave's knee injury and with Quentin Butler coming in new this year, you know, you have a bunch of younger guys, freshmen, sophomores, to be. And kind of copy that a little bit.
Compounding the problem is the fact that this is an incredibly young basketball team. It's hard to really think about it when you think of David Simon as the only senior and Quentin Butler as the only junior. Everyone after that, sophomore and freshman, including some true freshmen. So there's a lot of obstacles to overcome, but I know Coach Knoll and the Dons keep fighting, and they're so close to making that turn, to turn the corner, so to speak, and maybe a win here tonight against a very good Middle Tennessee State team that comes at 9-4. It could be a springboard.
Yeah, it could. And you know, you look at guys like Quentin Butler and David Simon, and you know, where were they this summer? You know, and it's, you got to build off your go-to guys. And with Dave's knee injury and with Quentin Butler coming in new this year, you know, you have a bunch of younger guys, freshmen, sophomores, to be, that are coming into this program without their leaders. And then you've got to rely on somebody like a Bo Bauer, a Quentin Carruthers, to really establish your momentum for the summer with your summer workouts and getting guys in the gym with your 5-on-5 and your lifting regimens.
That being said, they come in with a 3-11 record, but with the close games that they have, obviously you have an intimate relation with Coach Knoll, your father. What is the mood of the team? And I know it's tough to keep trying to climb that mountain, trying to climb that mountain and not quite getting over it. It's easy to get discouraged, but what is the mood of the team?
Well, you got to look at it and take it for what it is. You do not like saying that you rely on your moral victories, but for a program like this, you've got to take them for what they are. It's anything. You got to build your foundation. It's infancy stage. You know, you crawl, you walk, and then you run. I think they're doing it the right way. They're bringing in the good, solid kids, the good students. You know, with their GPA the way it is on a team average, they're bringing the right kids in. You know, so it takes time, and I don't think there's anybody out there that has the answers on what to do, but you look at it from a standpoint that, you know, you get the good kids in, you build a good solid foundation, and from there you hope you can build some good leaders from the kids.
Middle Tennessee State comes in, as we said, with a 9-4 record. They're coached by Kermit Davis. He's built quite a program. He's in his third season at Middle Tennessee State. He's had winning years his first two seasons. He's got an overall record of 42-28. He's been able to attract some kids that maybe weren't happy at their former schools, because he's got transfers in his starting lineup, two of them from Georgia, which obviously is a tremendous program, and one from South Carolina. And two of the kids in particular, their leading scorer is a junior, Mike Dean. He comes in averaging 16 points and 4 rebounds a game. He was a 30-point scorer for his career in high school. And the guy that I kind of want to get a look at is Steve Thomas. He's also transferred from Georgetown. He's a 6'9" senior, averages 11 points and 6 rebounds in the 6 games he's played to this point, but he was a starter for 2 years in the Southeast Conference, and that is saying something to have a kid like that in your program. They've
got a pretty good program, Middle Tennessee State does, and I think they're solid all the way around, from you know, their big guys to their guards. They've got a good program, and with these transfers adding to the mix, I think they could be a dangerous team. A lot of mid-range guys guys, you're looking 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", very athletic. So we've got to do a good job of keeping them on their toes, shot fakes, ball fakes, changing our defense up from time to time. But yeah, like you said, Middle Tennessee's they're coming in. A great ball club. They could be dangerous. They're a team that you just don't know what to expect on a given night.
The Dons have played Middle Tennessee State 3 times in their history. Middle Tennessee State has won all 3. A year ago down at Middle Tennessee, which as you might expect is right in the middle of Tennessee, just about 10 miles outside of Nashville. The game was tied at 65, less than a minute to go. Middle Tennessee State goes on a 7-0 run. It's kind of what we're talking about. Closing out games is so difficult when you haven't done it many times.
Right, and it just goes back to teaching the kids how to win, and maybe not from the coach's perspective, but from the players and building off their wins. You could see early this year the look of confidence that Bo Bauer has. You can tell, even though he's a sophomore, he has matured, and you expect big things out of him, even though he's a sophomore.
For the people that may just be tuning in, we're about 15 minutes or so away from tip-off. We had a doubleheader situation here at the Memorial Coliseum tonight. The women's played Detroit Mercy, final score, and that one went to Detroit Mercy, final score of 75-67. And people that may be tuning in who have looked outside the window or drove home from work may be surprised that we actually have basketball tonight. Most of the high schools, pretty much all of the high schools, canceled, but this game going on as expected because Middle Tennessee State and Detroit Mercy, the two teams, were already here. The officials were already here, so why not play?
Might as well.
Yeah, and for the fans, by the way, if you're in the vicinity of the Coliseum, we're not going to encourage you if you're 20 miles away or something like that, but the admission tonight is free. If you're close, I drove in about a little over an hour ago. The roads aren't too bad. They're definitely slick, but they're easily passable. So if you live by chance close to the Coliseum, haven't seen an IPFW basketball game, by all means, come on out because there is plenty of room for you tonight. It's not going to be the normal home court atmosphere. Literally, we may have less than 200 people here tonight because of the road conditions.
Right, and that's something that you got to look at. The guys have got to build on, even though they have the home court advantage, like you said. You've got to take that into consideration. That don't always let the fans get you up for a game. Don't always let the other team get you up for a game. You've got to come from within. Take a look at your scouting report, but the way the team perceives who they're playing is going to affect their attitude, I think.
One thing that'll be key, kind of a benchmark for us to look at early in this game, is how IPFW comes out, because when they've led at halftime, they're 3-1. When they've trailed at halftime, they're 0-10. So when they come out playing strong, which generally they do at home, they've had some good starts here on their home floor. I'm sure the first 10 minutes will kind of be a good point to tell where they're at tonight.
Yeah, and what the coaches look to do, Pat, is they judge the game off 5-minute battles. And if you can take each 5 minutes, break those down, and compete for that 5 minutes and see where you're at, let's go to the next 5 minutes and the next 5. And really, it allows you to gauge. You come out, you play strong, you set the tone. The next 5 minutes, you may change up your defense.
Taking on a team tonight like Middle Tennessee State, a very athletic basketball team. They're not all that big outside of the kid in the middle who's 6'9", but in the scouting report that I saw, just about everyone is a very good athlete. It's not that the Dons don't have good athletes, but when you're taking on a team that likes to press, likes to get up and down and run, what's kind of going to be key for the Dons in a matchup like this?
Well, you've got to be patient. That's the number one thing. Anytime a team throws a press on you or they're active in a zone, you've got to be patient. You can't look for your first opportunity. Sometimes you've just got to, read the defense, be patient, pull your guys out, tell them, Bo's got to do a good job of leading tonight. That's going to be important. And just really hand-pick where he wants his team when he's bringing the ball down the floor. Again,
for the people just tuning in, we're in between games of a doubleheader tonight. We normally don't take this long for a pregame show, but as we said, women played a little bit earlier. The men are warming up right now. He's Brad Knoll. I'm Pat Hoffman. We appreciate you tuning in on UPN Fort Wayne. While we have the time, let's talk a little bit about the advancement of some of the players on the Mastodon team. We've got David Simon, of course. Everybody knows about him. He came off the knee surgery, missed the first, I think, 4 games of the season. Since he's come back, 15 points, 7 rebounds, and still kind of finding his legs.
He is, and, it's tough when you go through a knee injury because you never know what to expect. Dave did a great job rehabbing. He did a great job coming back in a timely manner, and, it's something that when you're the coaches, what do? If his knee's hurting, his knee's hurting, but you got to push him. He's the leader. He's a thoroughbred of the team. The guys depend on him, and he's got to play solid every night. And Dave's a great kid, great individual, great student. He just got to get a little more intense and a little more physical, a little more vocal even from the player's perspective, being the only senior on the team.
Coach Noel has had a few critical comments, if people have seen the paper, about David Simon. David seems to have reacted well to the comments, taking them in the right context. I'm sure no player ever likes to hear anything negative, but as the only senior, sometimes you got to shoulder more of a load than you might normally have to.
Right, and that's something you've got to look at from Dave's perspective, and from the guys' perspective is, the coaches aren't here to take personal shots at anybody. They're here to make the program better and to make the kids better, and sometimes you've got to get on somebody's back and ride them a little bit, and with Dave bringing the force that he does with the team, you've got to get on him a little harder and say, Dave, listen, this is what I would do. This is what I would expect from myself if I was playing. Really, he's got to be a leader all the way around, not just when he feels like it, not when the other guys feel like it, but he's got to play tough. He's got to be more vocal, like we talked about, and I think that leadership role is coming.
The guy they brought in to play right alongside David Simon is Quentin Butler. Got off to a great start. I think had a 20-point game, I think a 17-rebound game, but since David Simon has come back, they're still figuring out how to play, and I say still, it's only been a matter of 6 or 7 games, and they had never worked with each other prior to this. How difficult is that for two players that have never played together to kind of find their way with limited practice time as well as limited game time?
Well, you look where...
Excuse us there. Just walked right in front of our camera.
Okay, we're on now. Yeah. A guy like Quentin Butler, you got to look at where he came from, and coming the JUCO route, or the junior college, like we like to say, he was probably the big guy there, and they kind of take a little longer break during Christmas, maybe a couple weeks off, and it's a different style of play. It's a different style atmosphere. And I think right now what he's going through is just his JUCO legs, where he's not used to playing at this point in time and as hard and as long. But he's got to realize what's important. He's got to realize that they don't take many breaks here, and I think he'll come back around. Start of the year, he was working well by himself. Dave came back, and then it was exciting to see them both play and work together. But you're right, they got to do a little better job of that.
Quentin Butler, a kid with all kinds of potential. You'd love to see the two of them maybe just have that one special night. Hopefully it'll be tonight, and once they realize they can do it together, they could become quite a big force. Once again, we are about 7-8 minutes away from tip-off. IPFW men's basketball, the Dons taking on Middle Tennessee State. We're going to take this time out. We'll have more pregame when we come back. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne. I never knew he was here. I never saw him.
Mom, Dad, you know we love kids, and I've made a decision that will totally change my life. Cameron's too. It's a huge responsibility, leading someone into, who knows, communication or science or math. That's what life's all about, right? Learning so you can pass on knowledge to younger minds. Dad, Mom, I want to be a teacher.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
What's ahead for the future of Northeast Indiana? One answer lies with the graduates of our fine area colleges and universities. Hi, I'm Phil Laux, president of the Greater Fort Wayne Chamber of Commerce. And when you support an area college or university, you support the economic growth and development of where we live. Graduates of these higher education institutions are working hard to grow our local economy. I urge you to support your area university or college with your time, your talent, and your treasure. Our college grads are a vital part of Northeast Indiana's continued success.
How does a business become one of Northeast Indiana's 50 best places to work? How can you show your support for higher education and gain the ear of Indiana's lawmakers? Why is an IPFW history professor involved in a college textbook project in Albania? You'll get the answers to these questions and much more on this month's edition of IPFW Up Close. You can see it Sundays at noon on College Cable Access Channel 56.
And we welcome you back to the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. Pat Hoffman joined now by Bruce Patterson, the head coach of the IPFW women's basketball team. And first of all, Bruce, it's got to be a little frustrating for you that you don't get to play at the Coliseum too many times. And when you get a chance to play here, you get a night like tonight where it's snow and ice, just about everything in town canceled, and not many people, unfortunately, able to come see you play.
Well, frankly, we like the Gates Center anyway. That's not an issue. But you're right. It's a shame when we get a chance to come here and try to get in front of a crowd that we can't perform any better than we did, either from a coaching staff or a player standpoint.
A little bit of a microcosm of your season, a little frustration. You got off to a slow start, showed a lot of heart, battled back, I think took a lead at the half, and then just fell a little bit short in the second. That final score was 75-67 against Detroit Mercy.
Well, Detroit's been a good basketball team this year. Their record already doesn't indicate what they've done. Actually, they went to a 2-point game or a 4-point game against Michigan State, which is ranked in the top 10. But that really wasn't the issue. We just don't seem to be able to play 40 minutes of basketball. We play, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, and sometimes even within the half itself, we'll play a half of a half and then we'll go brain dead. Frankly, we are searching. We are frustrated just simply because we know we can play better than this. Our shooting has been atrocious all year long. We've got kids that go into practice and shoot lights out, come out here in a game and can't hit the broadside of the barn.
Is it just become a mental thing then, you think, once they get into the game and until they experience some of that success, they're thinking the shot's not going to go in instead of that it is going to go in?
Frankly, I don't have the answer to that. If I had it, I'd probably find a way to change it. And I feel for them in a way, and another way it angers me because I know they've got the capability to shoot the basketball better than what they do. And that doesn't matter whether it's inside or outside. Sometimes we get the ball in close to the bucket and we just don't finish the shot, and to me that's just focus. So I think we got a focus issue, and that's probably my fault, and I got to take the blame for it and get it straightened out somewhere.
Coming back from the holiday break, where do you go from here?
We got to be at the Gates Center at 4:45 tomorrow morning because we got a plane that leaves somewhere around 7 o'clock. We head down to Richmond, Virginia, where we play Longwood and Radford. We'll be back on late Monday.
Anything kind of stick out as far as tonight's game goes on the stat sheet as far as who played well, or in your mind who did a good job tonight?
Well, I thought in the first half Maria Bibbs played very well, and that's been a big problem for us this year. V has struggled a lot and really hasn't got the numbers that she did last year. But when you lose, it's really hard to find somebody and say, oh, that kid played terrific. We came on the first half, I think we turned the ball over 6 times, and I know we turned it over 10 in the first 5 minutes of the second half, where we just started throwing the ball all over the place, and most of them were just silly passes. You're wondering where you trying to throw the ball.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming by. We certainly know it's a frustrating type night for you, but certainly want to wish you the best of luck in the games to come.
Well, thanks, and hopefully the men can do a little better job than we did tonight.
All right, that is Bruce Patterson, the head women's basketball coach here at IPFW. Again, IPFW's women coming up a little bit short, falling to Detroit Mercy, final of 75-67. Come on back over here, Brad Knoll. We're happy to have Brad Knoll on our broadcast here tonight. He'll be with us for a couple of our broadcasts here on UPN Fort Wayne. As we near the start of this game, again, for the people that may just be tuning in wondering why the game isn't being played, it was a doubleheader tonight. Women's game first, followed by the men. Women didn't end until about 8 o'clock. Got to have about 25 minutes in between the game. We're going to take another quick timeout, and we will have IPFW basketball in the tip-off when we come back.
Hi. I was wondering if you wanted to go out maybe or something, if you had time.
I can tell by your excitable behavior and verbal faux pas that you have generalized anxiety with paranoid tendencies. It would never work.
Okay, thanks.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
How does a business become one of Northeast Indiana's 50 best places to work? How can you show your support for higher education and gain the ear of Indiana's lawmakers? Why is an IPFW history professor involved in a college textbook project in Albania? You'll get the answers to these questions and much more on this month's edition of IPFW Up Close. You can see it Sundays at noon on College Cable Access Channel 56.
IPFW Mastodon Basketball, live from the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. This broadcast of IPFW Mastodon Basketball is a production of IPFW Athletics in conjunction with UPN Fort Wayne.
Oh, there's... Yes. And we're back once again at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. Starting lineups being introduced. Pat Hoffman along with Brad Knoll tonight. The Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders taking on the IPFW Mastodons. The Dons coached by Doug Knoll. The Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders coached by Kermit Davis. Middle Tennessee State 9-4. IPFW 3-11 coming in on a 6-game losing streak. Starting lineups for Middle Tennessee State. They'll have Francis Fats Kyler starting at one guard position. He'll play the point guard. Their guy to watch is Mike Dean, their leading scorer. He's a 6'3 senior, a transfer from Georgia, averaging 16 points, 4 rebounds a game. Michael Curfey, their second leading scorer. He is a 6'5" senior, averaging 13 points. Their leading rebounder, over 7 rebounds a game. The big man in the middle, Steve Thomas, a 6'9 senior, a transfer from Georgia, a 2-year starter in the Southeast Conference. He's averaging 11 points, 6 rebounds. Kyle Young, a 6'10 sophomore, rounds out the starting lineup. The Dons starting lineup being introduced as well. The starters at guard will be Bo Bauer and Quentin Carruthers, and Jason Malone as well. I think Carruthers, I guess, would technically be to call him a forward.
They run about a 3-guard offense, so whatever you put up on the screen, guard forward, it's basically all the same to them.
And then the interior people will be Quentin Butler and David Simon. David Simon, the leading scorer, the only senior on this IPFW basketball team. David averaging 15 points and 7 rebounds. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and even thanks more to the folks that made the trip out here to the Coliseum on an absolute miserable night for travel. So miserable that they decided to let anyone who showed up come in for free, and just about everything else in the area was canceled. But since both the teams from Detroit and Middle Tennessee State were already here in Fort Wayne, they decided to go ahead and play this game, and knowing they were going to be hurt at the gate. We are just moments away from tip-off. Head coach Doug Knoll with his final instruction for his basketball team. Again, the Dons trying to rebound from a 6-game losing streak and trying to build off that big win that they had off Utah State. Since then, they've had 2 games. They've lost them both by a combined total of 5 points. One of them a 3-point overtime loss. The other one a 2-point heartbreaker. So hopefully the Dons can turn the corner. And Brad, as we get ready to start this game, as we said a little while ago, getting off to a quick start will be key.
Well, it's all about the first 5 minutes. If they can establish the tone early, on the defensive end especially, that'll set the tone for the refs, for the game. Should be exciting.
6'10 against 6'10 for the opening tap, and the opening tap is controlled by Middle Tennessee State. As we said, they're a very athletic team. 3 starters in their lineup, transfers from the Southeast Conference, where they play a pretty good brand of basketball. Jason Malone tips the ball, comes up with a steal, first turnover of the game, and the Dons control the basketball.
Jason's hand's been hurting him lately, but he came back in and decided he's going to stick it out this year.
Right away, Dons take it inside. David Simon, shot won't go. Good to see the aggressiveness by Simon inside against the 6'9 player. Now Thomas on top, little high-low action tipped away by Quentin Butler. Great hustle, and 2 possessions, 2 turnovers for Middle Tennessee State.
Both on the defensive end, we've got those.
Bo Bauer takes it inside over to Jason Malone. He's down in the corner. On top, it's Quentin Carruthers, just underway from the Coliseum. David Simon on top. He's going to take the three-pointer. That one won't go. Rebound comes down to Fats Kyler. Like it, he's 6 feet, 182 pounds, nickname of Fats.
You don't know if you want Dave taking that shot right out of the gate, but he can shoot that, and the coaches are comfortable with him taking that shot.
It looks like we're going to have over the back Kyle Young, the 6', 10-inch sophomore, first personal foul of the basketball game. Kyle Young, not normally a starter for this team, but he's been giving him 5 points, 4 rebounds off the bench. Thought they'd get a little extra height in the lineup against the Dons. Just over a minute into the game, looking for our first bucket of the basketball game. Simon with it, top of the key, guarded by Young. As we said, both players 6 feet 10. Quentin Butler now giving up a couple inches to Thomas inside. Shot won't go. Rebound knocked out of bounds, and it'll go over to Middle Tennessee State.
Dave and Quentin Butler right now are playing a good inside-out game. You have Dave up on the top of the key, Quentin down low posting up. Look for them to switch that with Quentin going up top and Dave down low.
Fats Kyler with a basketball, guarded by Jason Malone over on the right side now. Trying to post up as Thomas down low. Simon with his hands full in there. Puts up the short shot, a little bit short. Rebound tapped around. Who wants it? Finally saved from going out of bounds. Good job by Quentin Butler. Now another scrum for the basketball, and finally into the hands of Jason Malone.
The Dons are establishing their intensity on the defensive end right now, which their first 5-minute battle is important.
Simon got cut off underneath, but gets the second chance bucket. David Simon with the first 2 points of the game.
You like to see that with Dave coming out being aggressive, taking those first few shots.
Interesting to see the athleticism of this Middle Tennessee State team. They're trying to pound it inside, but that's their third turnover. We're not even 3 minutes into this game.
It's a little cold outside. I know it's probably a little cold in the building here as well. Those guys are having a hard time hanging on to the ball.
And David Simon from 17 feet away knocks it down, and we have our first timeout of the game. IPFW with the first 4 points of the game. Is this just the 30?
Should be.
We'll keep it right here. 4-0, certainly a struggling start for Middle Tennessee State, and you hope that continues if you're IPFW, because 3 turnovers in less than 3 minutes. The big fella David Simon doing a great job.
Well, I think you look at the turnovers that they're causing, and you like to see it that IPFW is forcing those turnovers. They're not just foolish plays made by Middle Tennessee right now, but IPFW really is setting a tone on the defensive end.
Just 1 field goal attempt. You see the replay there. David Simon knocking down the 17-footer. Officially 2 field goal attempts. IPFW right now 2 out of 6. Middle Tennessee State 0 for 2. But as we said, 3 turnovers. And that prompted Coach Kermit Davis to call a quick timeout less than 3 minutes into this game. Certainly trying to get his point across to his basketball team.
We never like to be on the road starting off in this position. So you get your guys settled down and see if they can get back and regroup.
First substitution of the game, Alex Weeks comes into the contest. Mike Dean, that's the guy you need to keep your eye on with the first bucket for Middle Tennessee State. As we said, averaged 30 points a game in high school and an all Sun Belt Conference performer. Another personal foul. Kyle Thomas out of position there, going over the back. Kyle Young, I should say. Marcus Morrison, another player coming in off the bench. Got a feeling he's a normal starter on this team. I'm not pure speculation, don't know if it was discipline or not, but kept him out the first couple of minutes. But he averages 10.6 rebounds a game. You knew he wasn't going to be on the bench long if he's healthy.
Didn't sit too long.
Kyler trying to tip it away, but saved in by Bo Bauer right in front of us. Jason Malone with the basketball. He's going to penetrate, stop there, try to get it to Carruthers, but it's tipped away.
Good idea by Jason. You just can't force it in there when Quentin's not expecting it.
And loose ball, going to be tied up. we're right by head coach Kermit Davis. He was talking to Marcus Morrison. I don't know if it picked up over microphones or not. He's like, Marcus, what are you doing?
It's getting a little out of control down at the other end, but
gotta want him out, Fat.
Turnover certainly a problem. That is number 4 on Middle Tennessee State. 4-2 is our score, just underway, less than 4 minutes into the ball game. Bo Bauer with a basketball. Pete Campbell into the contest for the Dons, their first substitution. Carruthers along the side underneath, and did he step along the baseline?
I think he caught a piece of the baseline right there.
So a turnover on IPFW. That's just their second of the game. I say just because that's only half as many as Middle Tennessee State to this point. A little bit of a rough start for both teams. As you said, a very cool evening and an unusual situation playing in a near empty type Memorial Coliseum because of the weather conditions. Middle Tennessee State gets their own rebound. They'll reset the offense. Morrison down the lane. Move won't go. You see the athleticism there, but it wouldn't go on the putback. Don's clear the rebound. Bauer, the little pull up. That one won't go. Morrison cleans the glass with the rebound.
A little better decision on Bo's part next time. He had some guys running the lanes. Get them the ball early.
Quentin Butler whistled for his first personal foul of the game along the baseline. We have a timeout. 4-2. Don's with the lead. We'll take a timeout. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
You know, if she continues to spill product at a rate of 3 per hour, unit cost, say 60 cents. Factor in breakage, downtime, lost sales. You're looking at $2,400 a month. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
Blustery, cold night outside, but it's certainly warm inside. Brad Knoll joining me. My name is Pat Hoffman. Thanks for joining us on UPN Fort Wayne. We broadcast each and every one of the home games for the Mastodons. And Brad, as you look at the first 5 minutes of the game, your thoughts?
Well, you know, you establish the tone on the defensive end, force Middle Tennessee to create some turnovers, but they're in a position, this is a must-win game for them.
After the inbounds, Weeks with the missed jam, but Cuffey gets it back, and Cuffey will knock down the long two-point shot. Toes are on the line. We're tied up at 4.
You see a little pressure by Middle Tennessee right now. This is where the Dons have got to be patient. They've got to execute.
Butler underneath, off the window. That's what you like to see against pressure. Don't just beat it and score.
Well, you usually beat the press with passing.
But you want to beat him back down on defense the other way, and unfortunately Marcus Morrison showed off his speed, comes back with the answer. Now the offensive pace of the game starting to pick up with that pressure by Middle Tennessee State, looking for a trap.
That's what they wanted right there. The reason Middle Tennessee's trapping right there at the timeline is to get Quentin Carruthers to dribble the ball. He needs to keep his head up, look for the open man, just like they did on a previous possession.
Fats Kyler going for the steal, but he stepped along the baseline, and you can see the intensity level for Middle Tennessee State pick up with that pressure. They kind of feed off that pressure applied to IPFW.
Well, at that timeout, they understood what the score was and that they weren't really taking care of the ball, so they had to up their intensity a little bit, and they came out with that pressure zone.
6-6 our score, as you see. Carruthers with a basketball now for IPFW. David Simon trying to work his way free inside. Being guarded now by Marcus Morrison. He's got a couple inches on him, but Bo Bauer knocks down a 3.
You got to create when the shot clock's going down, and those are the buckets you like.
So the Dons go up by 3. Alex Weeks shooting over Simon, and about 6 inches short. Apparently Simon got a piece of the basketball. I didn't see it. Of course, the referee's a little closer to the action than we are. They say it was tipped, so they will go back.
I guess we have to take their word for it.
We have no choice. Tennessee State trying to inbound. They get it into Dean. As we said, 16 points a game average, tipped and knocked out of bounds. It'll go back to Middle Tennessee State.
They've really had a problem hanging on to the ball this half.
They certainly have. And we are much closer on the bench to the Middle Tennessee State bench than we are to IPFW, so we can hear most of the comments by Coach Kermit Davis. And he has not been pleased, but he'll be happy with that play as they work it inside to Alex Weeks. The 6'8 sophomore gets the bucket with a left hand.
For Middle Tennessee to be aggressive, they got to utilize that a little more. They take their perimeter guys on the outside and single Dave Simon down there with that other big guy.
Almost a turnover, but great job by Bo Bauer finding a wide open Justin Hawkins just into the game, and he gets his first 2.
That's what you're taught in the 5th grade, to keep your head up when you're dribbling, and Bo found Hawkins down low.
Good job by Hawkins realizing the opening going right there, and Bauer found him. And Dean will knock down, Michael Cuffey.
Yeah, that's a tough shot to defend. I mean, Campbell had his hand in his face, and he just knocked down a good shot.
Don still lead it by 1. They break the pressure. Hawkins with it and try to get it over to Simon. Gets it back. Looking for help. Bo Bauer from 17 feet knocks it down, and anytime Bo Bauer hits his first couple of shots, that signals usually a pretty good ball game for him.
You like to see that, especially being a leader on the floor. When he gets confidence going, he's just good all around.
Bo with 5 points, 14-10, 4-point lead. 3-pointer at the other end, knocked down by Marcus Morrison.
Toughest part about hitting a good shot down on our end is when they go down and match it. That's something that we've got to eliminate with our defense, and you know it's tough to defend good shots like that.
Carruthers with it now for IPFW, leading by 1. Bauer, the quick 3 this time, and Bo Bauer is lighting it up. He has 7 points now, 8 points, 2 threes and a 2.
Team's got to feed off this now. Bo hit some shots. You know, you got to keep the defense on their toes.
Well, it is bombs away. Mike Dean with 3 at the other end. So
I think we just talked about that. Trading baskets right there.
Yeah, we had a sluggish first 4 minutes of this basketball game. Since that last media timeout, both teams have been lighting it up. So it took just a little while for both teams to heat up with some great end-to-end action. See if IPFW can answer. Simon's shot won't go, but Justin Hawkins, good hustle on the rebound. Bauer, another long 3, and that one a little bit off the mark.
Well, you like to see Dave aggressive as he is. They've got to come out and challenge him, and when Quentin Butler's back in the lineup, they're going to have some openings.
Middle Tennessee State, another quick 3-pointer by Marcus Morrison. Doesn't go. Don's in transition, and good job taking the block. Carruthers called for the charge. And we have another timeout in play. IPFW on top, 17-16. We'll take a break. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Do you have everything you need? Paper, pencils?
We only ask that you do your best.
And made you a snack.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
Again at the Coliseum, Mastodons leading the Blue Raiders 17-16. Brad Knoll, what sticks out so far? We've seen really play pick up here the last couple of minutes.
First 5 minutes, we just looked at a turnover-infested ball game, and now we got some guys hitting some outside shots. It's fun to watch. That last charge right there, though, Quentin Carruthers is going to be told in the timeout that you need to be quick, but don't be in a hurry.
Good point. Sounds like a young coach yourself there. Following the timeout, try to go right inside to Thomas, who's back in the game. He's been on the bench for the last 4 or 5 minutes. Middle Tennessee State's really made their run without their big fella inside. Pete Campbell, 3-pointer, a little bit short. Rebound chased down by Weeks. Thomas very aggressive and lowered the shoulder, and that's pretty much going to get you a foul every time.
That's a good heads-up play by Bo, and you can tell his maturity level right there when he's making plays like that on both ends of the floor.
Steve Thomas, a big kid, 6'9" senior, and he certainly has hit the weight room, but good job by the Dons knowing that can't feel good. Dons trying to add to a 1-point lead. We're near the halfway point of the first half. 17-16 our score. Bo Bauer with 8 points to lead IPFW. A couple of long three-pointers. Cuts in the lane over to Pete Campbell. Shot won't go, and a rebound pulled down by Middle Tennessee State. Dario Scott just into the contest, seeing his first action.
You got to get Pete Campbell going on the offensive end, but I think that last shot was forced a little bit. Just let it come to you.
Following that shot, a little bit of pushing and shoving going on underneath the basket. I think the intensity level starting to pick up in this game after that sluggish start.
Well, you like to see number 22 come in right here, Andrew Bourne. Just a kid that you know what to expect night in and night out. Just going to work hard and plain and simple.
I think I compared him to Ryan Tapak of IU last time I saw him play. He just comes out, he'll dive for a ball, he'll take a charge, he'll do all the little things that sometimes other players don't want to do. There you see him scrapping just to hang on to the ball, finds Pete Campbell. The Dons maintain possession.
They're running a 41 offense right here, 4 out, 1 in, isolating Quentin Butler down low, and you got to give the ball up right here.
Well, Thomas certainly very athletic, very long at 6'9". Ball knocked out of bounds. It'll go back to IPFW. That's a matchup I think Middle Tennessee State probably likes, 6'9" against 6'7", with the strength that Thomas has.
Yeah, with Dave out right now, they're mainly perimeter, and to isolate Quentin Butler in there, they got to get a little more movement.
Butler trying to post up, pass from Campbell, eludes him, out of bounds, turnover on the Dons. That'll be turnover number 4 on IPFW, 6 so far for Middle Tennessee State.
At this point, you got to be happy with the field goal situation. IPFW 7-16 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3, 50%. Middle Tennessee 7-15, 2 of 5 from 3.
Middle Tennessee State looking for a lead in the game. Thomas, good job there by Butler. Quick hands before he could go up with the basketball. Another turnover, number 7 for the Blue Raiders. Jason Malone on top, goes for Butler underneath, and Thomas is going to pick up a foul. I think that'll be number 2 on him.
Yeah, those fouls have come pretty close together, so he's walking over to the bench, talking to his coach a little bit about kind of calming down, being a little more patient.
Sometimes when you have that much strength and athleticism, as great as it is to have it, sometimes it can be a curse when the fouls come. David Simon inside, ball tipped as it goes up, won't go. Carruthers comes down with it, tried to save it, loose ball, jump ball situation, and this tie-up will go back over to Middle Tennessee State. So the big fella, Steve Thomas, with 2 personal fouls. He's on the bench possibly for the final 9 minutes of this first half.
Not a good situation for Middle Tennessee State, but right now IPFW has got to take advantage of that with their inside game.
David Simon is back off the bench, so that's a matchup now that goes from possibly being a negative to now you bring your big guy on, their big guy out. The advantage goes to IPFW. Smithson, though, a quick drive to the basket.
Good move. He recognized Dave Simon was over helping a little too far and just took advantage of Bourne.
Scouting report for Brian Smithson, the number 1 thing on it that your father told us was competitor. The kid absolutely loves to compete.
When you're 5'11", you almost have to.
David Simon, the loose ball, knocked out of bounds. It'll stay in the hands of IPFW. Bo Bauer, who had the hot hand, couple of long three-pointers and a deuce, checks back in. Andrew Bourne spelled him for a little over a minute or 2. Bo Bauer, a big key to this basketball team. He's only going to continue to grow. See if he has the hot hand off the bench. And on cue, knocks down his 3rd three-pointer of the game, and a timeout called by Middle Tennessee State.
Usually the coaches right there will tell you, Bo, listen, you just get into the game, take your time, get a feel for it. But when you've hit 3 already, just, let it fly for a little bit.
His high is 15 points. He's done that 3 times. He's already into double figures. We are only 12 minutes into this basketball game. So great to see Bo Bauer off to the quick start. David Simon scored the first 5 points of the game. Since then, we've seen Bo Bauer really show us what he can do.
Yeah, and it's got to go back and forth. I think right now to take advantage of him, you know, Bo's a hot hand, but you've got to keep getting the ball, moving it, staying aggressive on the offensive end.
20-18 is our score. IPFW with the lead. 8 minutes, 35 seconds left to play here in the first half. Coach Kermit Davis not saving his timeouts, using them very freely here in the first half. Not happy the way his team has come out to play this game.
Well, you can't be. You have 7 turnovers. Even though you're shooting the ball well, you got to take care of the ball.
Quick hands there by Quentin Carruthers. Knocks that out of bounds. IPFW really showing some scrap.
Well, this is what you like to see. I mean, a 6-game losing streak, you've got to take into account that you've got to be ready to play night in and night out. I don't care who you're playing.
10 seconds on the shot clock for Middle Tennessee State. Shot clock down to 5. Smithen trying to penetrate. Might have got away with a walk. Fall away won't go. Rebound chased down, though, by Michael Cuffey. Cuffey cuts in the lane. Back to Smithson on top.
I think Middle Tennessee got away with one right there, but on IPFW's end, you got to box out.
Tough shot by Dean, curls out, almost got it to fall. Jason Malone clears the rebound. Don's looking to add to a 2-point lead. David Simon, he's got a size advantage, little turnaround, uses the window, and that's what he does so well.
Nice soft touch for Dave. He's really developed his outside shot this last year, worked on it over the summer.
David Simon gives IPFW a 4-point lead. Dean, as we said, their leading scorer at 16 points a game. Averaged 30 a game in high school. He's a very streaky type player. Cuffey, the shot from the outside won't go. Rebound to IPFW. They can add to a 4-point lead. Carruthers cuts in the lane. Quentin Butler was in his way. A little communication breakdown there. Smithson in a hurry. He knifes down the lane. And we'll have a blocking foul. I think the referee saw Butler trying to draw that foul. I think I saw him kind of leaning before there was contact.
Yeah, he slid a little bit too much. The underneath ref didn't see it, though. It was made by the baseline official.
We have a break in action. 22-18. Dons with the lead. We'll take a break as well. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
In there. What's up? The show's a 7. Whoa.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
Back once again at the Coliseum following the timeout. Dons with a 4-point lead. Middle Tennessee State with the basketball out of the timeout. And nearly turned it over for the 8th time. And almost did it again. Instead, they'll hang on to it. Dean with the basketball right now. Good pressure by Bo Bauer. Fats Kyler with it on top. He's a pass first, shoot second type player. What you like out of your point guard? Yeah, nice athletic play there. You see it by Michael Cuffey. He has really shown some athleticism here tonight.
Well, the shots Middle Tennessee's taken, they've been tough shots with the hand in their face, and they're still shooting the ball well.
Cuffey 3 out of 4 from the field for 6 points. Cuts the lead to 2. Personal foul called against Kyler. Got a hard time calling him Fats, especially since I had a little holiday weight gain which is understandable.
I think we all did.
Dons with the basketball at a 2-point lead. Byron Malone, the brother of Jason Malone, back into the game. He's a sophomore coming off the bench. Bo Bauer, game's leading scorer with 12 points, 4 out of 5 from 3-point range. You know, the Dons would like to free him up for another one. Carruthers will try for 3, curls out.
Well, you got to get other guys involved right now. Bo is hitting a shot, but there's going to come a point in time when you need to rely on somebody else. So get the other guys some touches and keep moving the ball.
David Simon right now 3 for 8. Bauer 4 for 6. Nobody else has more than 2 shots, so it's been a 2-man team to this point. Morris in the tough drive. Good defense that time by David Simon. And Bauer long range, and I tell you what, he was about 5-6 feet beyond the arc, but I could tell when he released it, that perfect rotation, that was going down.
Well, I mean, granted, what's that, his 5th one already? 5 of 7, shooting the ball outstanding. You know, you just got to keep giving the teammates, letting them know, hey, get Bo open.
He has equaled his season high. He's done it 3 times. He's at 15 points. We have more than 5 minutes to play here in the first half. 25-20, IPFW. Middle Tennessee State. Dean with it now, tries to cut down the lane. Gives it over to Weeks. He'll shoot the shot, won't go. And rebound to Malone. Byron Malone will push it.
Good stop for IPFW. You can't trade baskets like we talked earlier.
Carruthers, tough turnaround, but he knocks it down.
Good bucket. Went back into the middle. The guy bumped him, so a little fadeaway does a trick, especially when you can jump as high as Quentin Carruthers.
IPFW up to 50% from the field. Middle Tennessee State just at 41%. See that extra little hopping step, you knock a couple of shots down and everybody feeds off it. Morrison pull-up shot, that one won't go. Rebound pulled down by Carruthers. Dons with a chance to take a 9 or 10-point lead if they can convert on this possession. Malone into Justin Hawkins. Bauer, can he hit another one? Oh, almost a chance for a 4-point play. And you can see Bo Bauer's face. I read his lips. He's like, whew. He thought he had a chance for a 4-pointer.
This is one of those games when you're out back with your little brother, little sister playing. I think Bo's having a good time, but he's got to keep into perspective that, you know, Dave Simon's going to need his touches. He needs to get going a little more.
Bo Bauer feeling it, as we said, 5 out of 6 from the 3-point line. He'll shoot his first free throws. He'll shoot 3 of them. He knocks down the first one for the year. Bo Bauer, 69%. Sophomore out of Lewis Cass High School. Great high school career. Led his team to a state championship as he misses the second. Leads the team in assists and steals. Averages over 9 points a game.
You like to bring a kid in like Bo Bauer. Didn't know too much what a loss was in high school. Came here and you take a program like we have, you really need to lead a team. And even as a sophomore, he's doing a good job.
Should have shot his free throws from the 3-point line because he was 5 for 6 from there. Just 1 out of 3 from 15 feet away. Cuffey along the baseline hits the little pull-up. I tell you, Middle Tennessee State would be lost without Michael Cuffey. He has kept them in this game. 28-22 is the score right now. Cuffey's 4 out of 5 for 8 points as a couple of rebounds. Malone over to Carruthers, tries to go up against a couple of taller players, hits the side of the backboard. That's a tough shot there, not going to make that one too often. Smithson 3 in transition, that one won't go, but a rebound to Middle Tennessee State. Morrison roofed underneath, ball knocked out, and it'll go to IPFW. Justin Hawkins with a good job of defense. We've got a timeout, 6-point game. Don's on top. We'll be right back. This is IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Mom, Dad, you know we love kids, and I've made a decision that will totally change my life. Cameron's too. It's a huge responsibility, leading someone into, who knows, communication or science or math. That's what life's all about, right? Learning so you can pass on knowledge to younger minds. Dad, Mom, I want to be a teacher.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
the Memorial Coliseum. 28-22 is our score. 3.5 minutes left to play during the timeout. Coach Knowles got to be pretty happy so far.
You do. When you're playing well, you've got to be aware of one thing, that the guys just don't relax, rely on Bo's outside shooting. And Middle Tennessee has the lead in points in the paint, 6-4. Not a big difference, but they've established the inside game, and they're shooting the ball well. So that's one thing we've got to be careful of. When you play well and you're knocking your shots down, you still have to stay aggressive on both ends of the floor.
One stat that Coach Knowles has to be happy about, only 2 points for Middle Tennessee State on the fast break, and they may have 2 more here, but Bo Bauer with the foul on Kyler going up, because Middle Tennessee State, a dangerous team in transition, only with 2 points on the break so far.
Well, Bo had to foul right there. Just a lazy pass on the other end, and that's what I touched on a little bit was, you know, when you're playing well and you're making a run, sometimes a lot of coaches like to call timeout to settle their guys down and regroup and say, you know, let's try a different look and see if we can't establish this.
Fats Kyler at the line, hits the first free throw, but that was a good foul, just the first on Bauer. Kyler coming in just a 43% free throw shooter, so odds are he's not going to hit them both. But Bauer's a good free throw shooter. He hit only 1 out of 3, so what are stats?
Yeah, usually those are the guys you want to foul, but he just proves your point wrong and makes both of them.
That cuts the lead to 4, 28-20 toward Jason Malone. Ball knocked off of his leg. It'll be a turnover.
Back-to-back turnovers right now, and you know, the Dons might want to change something up, be a little more aggressive.
I think Kermit Davis wishes he had a few more timeouts, because it seems he's taken several, and it seems like after the timeout they respond immediately to his timeout.
Good acting job on Bo Bauer right there. Anytime you're the little guy coming around against the big guy, it's always nice to grunt a little bit and make it feel and look like you got pushed out of the way. But
personal foul goes against Middle Tennessee State. Alex Weeks called for it. Something tells me with your playing background and your size, you know a little something about that.
Well, you got to take advantage of every angle, and I tell you, when you're not 6'6" and you're playing the 2, you got to come up with something creative.
Justin Hawkins had the open shot, couldn't knock it down. Good job underneath, fighting for the basketball. Jump ball is going to go, the possession arrow goes Middle Tennessee State. Oh, they called a foul. Oh, timeout. Okay, so timeout by the Dons. I thought there was a. I thought they called the timeout.
Yeah, we just you know, got to regroup right now. I think, as we talked on earlier, you know, we're looking to Bo a little too much, and what's Bo going to do? We got to move the ball some more and play team basketball. You know, the turnovers that we've had have been careless turnovers. Coaches don't mind when you turn the ball over if it's effective, if you're doing something productive with it. Situations like the last couple possessions, they've just been careless turnovers.
2 minutes, 44 seconds. You see some of the folks that braved the very slippery conditions outside to come here tonight against this is game 2 of a doubleheader. The IPFW women dropped a 75-67 game earlier today to Detroit Mercy. Following the timeout, Dons with the basketball, see if they can respond.
To the next guy.
Looking to close out the final couple minutes of this half strong. They've played well for the most part this half, have built a 4-point lead. It was as many as 8. Carruthers will put up a shot a little bit off, and Cuffey with the rebound. Kyler with a pass, and that was a bad pass. Justin Hawkins read it all the way, comes up with the easy steal.
Anytime you're passing into the paint there, you got to throw it to the outside. That was a little too much to the outside.
Justin just took one away, and then he gave it right back. Inside, Cuffey's had the hot hand. He leads Middle Tennessee State with 8 points, make it 10. He just has a nice elevation and a good touch.
He's got a good feel for the game there, and you could see him kind of waiting and hesitating a little bit to see what Hawkins was doing, and just read it the right way.
Cuffey has hit 5 of his 6 shots here tonight for 10 points. Pete Campbell, shot won't go. Simon keeps it alive, and Carruthers comes down with a loose ball. Big possession here. The lead has been cut to 2. It was just 8 a few minutes ago. Bo Bauer cuts into the lane. Over to Carruthers in the corner. No look pass to Pete Campbell. Good adjustment in midair, and he gets a big bucket.
Good finish by Pete. We need to get him going.
30-26. The lead back up to 4. Psychologically, that's got to help the Dons. We'll see if Middle Tennessee State can answer. Smithson, one of the spark plugs off the bench, goes underneath Cuffey, and he's fouled on the way up. Interesting, the outside referee made that call. The one that was right under the basket didn't make the call.
You never know what the refs are looking at. I'll stick to that.
Personal foul called on, who'd they call that one? They called that one on David Simon. Simon picks up the personal. Just number one for David. Cuffey at the line. He'll shoot a pair. Misses that one for the season. 75% free throw shooter. You see head coach Doug Knoll encouraging his team. They have a 4-point lead, just over a minute to play. Getting to that halftime with the lead has been key for this team psychologically. They're 3-1 when going to the break with a lead, 0-10 when not. So it'll be an important final minute. Cuffey gets 1 out of 2, cuts the lead to 3. What's Coach Knoll looking for here in the final minute?
Well, you know, you got to take care of the ball right now. You got to keep it moving, and that's really not what he's looking for. You know, get the guys involved. Pete Campbell just hit a bucket down there. You got to get him going. He's taken a couple forced shots, and he just scored. So you got to look for him to come back and knock down a shot or two.
Dons turn it over again. They now have 10, while Middle Tennessee State, who had, I think, 5 in the first 5 minutes, has only 8. So the Dons have not been protecting the basketball the last 6 or 7 minutes. Smithson going up for a shot. Hawkins a partial block. Hawkins comes down with a loose ball and he'll wisely hold it up.
Well, that's what basketball is, a game of spurts and runs, and you just got to protect your basket and make sure the other team doesn't go on a run right before the half to get a little momentum.
And Bo Bauer with kind of lost his place on the court, stepped along the sideline there. Turnover number 11. Middle Tennessee State with a chance to hold it for the final shot of the half if they choose to do so. The shot clock is off, 30 seconds to play in the first half. Dons lead it by 3. See if they can play some tough defense here, take a lead into the locker room.
Right now, you don't want to foul a jump shooter. If somebody's going to make a tough shot in your face, just get the hand up. But we don't need any fouls right now, especially going into half or on Dave.
Now they'll set the offense, 10 seconds to go. Smithson, no. It's going to be Cuffey. He's had the hot hand, driving in, elevates, shot goes. He has got the stroke, cuts it to 1. The three-quarter court heave won't go. We will go to the locker room and the Centennial Wireless halftime show with a scoreboard showing IPFW 30. And Middle Tennessee State, the Blue Raiders with 29. After a sluggish first 4 minutes, it's been a very entertaining first half of basketball. We will take a break and come back with the Centennial Wireless halftime show. We'll update you on all the stats and set the tone for our second half of action. We'll be right back. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Do you have everything you need? Paper, pencils?
We only ask that you do your best.
And make you a snack.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
What's ahead for the future of Northeast Indiana? One answer lies with the graduates of our fine area colleges and universities. Hi, I'm Phil Laux, president of the Greater Fort Wayne Chamber of Commerce. And when you support an area college or university, you support the economic growth and development of where we live. Graduates of these higher education institutions are working hard to grow our local economy. I urge you to support your area university or college with your time, your talent, and your treasure. Our college grads are a vital part of Northeast Indiana's continued success.
Hi. I was wondering if you wanted to go out maybe or something, if you had time.
I can tell by your excitable behavior and verbal faux pas that you have generalized anxiety with paranoid tendencies. It would never work.
Okay, thanks.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
How does a business become one of Northeast Indiana's 50 best places to work? How can you show your support for higher education and gain the ear of Indiana's lawmakers? Why is an IPFW history professor involved in a college textbook project in Albania? You'll get the answers to these questions and much more on this month's edition of IPFW Up Close. You can see it Sundays at noon on College Cable Access Channel 56.
And we welcome you back. We are at halftime. Welcome to the Centennial Wireless halftime show. We are courtside at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. Pat Hoffman, along with former IPFW basketball player and the coach's son, Brad Knoll. Certainly appreciate you helping us out in the broadcast tonight. I know you've seen, if not all the home games, most of the home games. Your thoughts on the first half where the Dons have a 1-point lead against a very good program that brings a 9-4 record into this game?
Well, they start off on the right foot. They initiated the momentum of the game. They forced Middle Tennessee to turn the ball over early. You know, it's good. It's a good showing when you come out and you're aggressive, and you hate to coach the guys on, hey, work hard, run the floor. They're doing the little things so the coaches can actually put X's and O's to the board.
Psychologically, what do you think the mood is like at the half as they come in on a 6-game losing streak? And as I said, a couple of those games were heartbreaking, overtime loss in one and a 2-point loss in another here on their home floor.
All right, you got to be excited. You know, you're up 1 at halftime on your home floor. You're playing at home. I haven't been home in a while. And the mood right now should be they got to be careful. Middle Tennessee turned the ball over early. But right now, you know, the turnover situation, you know, it's 11-8. And late in the game, when we got relaxed after we made our run, we turned the ball over, I think it was 3 or 4 times in a row. And we really got to be careful of that and not rely on Bo hitting his outside shot or Dave being aggressive down low. It's got to be a combination.
Middle Tennessee State, a very athletic basketball team. As we said, 3 starters played in the Southeast Conference. But I would assume since IPFW has just played Xavier and Marquette, who's 12-1 off to their best start in 26 years, that they're probably not awed by some of the athleticism because they've just played 2 teams with a lot of athletes.
All right, you look at the games they've had recently. Morehead State, Tennessee Martin, Maine, games that they need to win, should win, and can't finish. But then you take the teams like the Utah States, the UTEPs, and Xaviers, all very good, very powerful basketball programs, and they play well against them. A game like tonight, you got to be licking your chops, ready to play and ready to compete and you know, ready for a win.
Individually, what sticks out as we look at the scoreboard, 30 for IPFW, 29 for Middle Tennessee State. More than half of those 30 points have come from Bo Bauer, who has been red hot. 5 3-pointers, a season-high 16 points. When he feels it, we're looking at some of the shots here by Bo, and those are deep threes.
You got to feel good when you're taking threes like that. Those are the ones that the coaches look at you, question the shot, and then when it goes in, it's a good shot, Bo. But you know, all-around performance on Bo tonight. He's been playing well, but you know, my big thing is you got to get other guys involved. You know, even you're hitting the shots, get the guys involved, make them feel a part of it. Because you look at Dave Simon, he's 3 of 8, but I tell you, he probably took 6 or 7 shots in the first 5 minutes of the game, and has really not been a factor in the second half here in the last 10 minutes of the first half.
A little frustrating. We made the point, I think, with about 8 or 9 minutes to go in the first half when Thomas, the 6'9" kid from Middle Tennessee State, went out of the game. We thought IPFW might exploit that. Instead, they really weren't able to do that.
Well, it's tough. I mean, you look at Thomas has been in the ball game 5 minutes, and the time he was in was when Dave was being aggressive. He goes out, all of a sudden Bo starts hitting his outside shot. You know, it's a tough way to coach right there, because, you know, Bo's hitting a shot. What are you going to do? Tell him to pass it into Dave? You've got to have the balance, but at the same time, you know, Dave's got to recognize that. Tell Bo, say, you know, give me the ball, I'll give it back to you, and just kind of work off of each other a little more. And I don't see that right now, them working off of each other. Whether Dave's playing well, Bo's playing well, Quentin's doing some good things. So they just need to play more together.
Bo Bauer, 16 points, leads IPFW. Michael Cuffey has been outstanding for Middle Tennessee State. He has 13 points. He has missed just 1 of his 7 shots. Bo Bauer has missed just 2 of his 7 shots. We're going to take this time out. Dons lead at 30-29. We'll be back with more on the Centennial Wireless halftime show right after this.
You know, if she continues to spill product at a rate of 3 per hour, unit cost, say 60 cents. Factor in breakage, downtime, lost sales, you're looking at $2,400 a month. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
What's ahead for the future of Northeast Indiana? One answer lies with the graduates of our fine area colleges and universities. Hi, I'm Phil Laux, president of the Greater Fort Wayne Chamber of Commerce. And when you support an area college or university, you support the economic growth and development of where we live. Graduates of these higher education institutions are working hard to grow our local economy. I urge you to support your area university or college with your time, your talent, and your treasure. Our college grads are a vital part of Northeast Indiana's continued success.
How does a business become one of Northeast Indiana's 50 best places to work? How can you show your support for higher education and gain the ear of Indiana's lawmakers? Why is an IPFW history professor involved in a college textbook project in Albania? You'll get the answers to these questions and much more on this month's edition of IPFW Up Close. You can see it Sundays at noon on College Cable Access Channel.
And we welcome you back once again. We are at halftime, a very entertaining first half of basketball. Took a couple of minutes for the teams really to get going, but once they got going, the intensity picked up.
Yeah, and like we talked about earlier, basketball's a game of spurts and runs, and it's not always about who makes the spurts, but who can control the runs. And I think on the defensive end, IPFW's done a pretty good job controlling Middle Tennessee State when they've made some tough shots. But it goes back to getting everybody involved in the offense and controlling the ball and not allowing those turnovers late in the last 5 minutes of the first half, which caused for Middle Tennessee State to gain some ground.
As we would expect in a game that's 30-29 at the half, statistically this game has been pretty much a draw.
Yeah, it's been back and forth, and you know, when you see Bo make a tough three or Dave make a tough shot inside, you hate to reward the other team by just giving them another opportunity and then matching you shot for shot.
IPFW in the first half, 12 out of 27, 44%. You see the stats there for Middle Tennessee, almost identical, 12 out of 29. As you look at the numbers, the assists really jump out for IPFW. Coach Noel has to be very pleased with that. 10 for IPFW, only 3 for Middle Tennessee State.
Yeah, you go into the locker room right now, there's not too many negatives to harp on, but what you got to stay focused on is those turnovers and those crucial turnovers late in the first half. Eliminate some of those, keep controlling the boards on the defensive end, and keep playing physical and aggressive and get everybody involved.
Another number that looked good, it's only a 1 rebound advantage for IPFW, 17-16, but Middle Tennessee State, a team that has out-rebounded their opponents by 8, so that's something to keep our eye on. They're a very good rebounding team. We're going to take this time out. We'll have the start of the second half when we come back on the Centennial Wireless halftime show. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Everything you need, paper, pencils.
We only ask that you do your best.
And make you a snack.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
What's ahead for the future of Northeast Indiana? One answer lies with the graduates of our fine area colleges and universities. Hi, I'm Phil Laux, president of the Greater Fort Wayne Chamber of Commerce. And when you support an area college or university, you support the economic growth and development of where we live. Graduates of these higher education institutions are working hard to grow our local economy. I urge you to support your area university or college with your time, your talent, and your treasure. Our college grads are a vital part of Northeast Indiana's continued success.
How does a business become one of Northeast Indiana's 50 best places to work? How can you show your support for higher education and gain the ear of Indiana's lawmakers? Why is an IPFW history professor involved in a college textbook project in Albania? You'll get the answers to these questions and much more on this month's edition of IPFW Up Close. You can see it Sundays at noon on College Cable Access Channel 56.
Once again at halftime, just moments away from the start of the second half. In the first half, we saw 2 ties, 2 lead changes. Largest lead of the ball game was IPFW's 8-point lead when they led it 28-20 with just over 4 minutes to play. Unfortunately, Middle Tennessee State closed on a 9-1 run to get us to our current 30-29. What should we look for at the start here in the second half?
Mainly, you want your defensive intensity to really speak for your team. And right now, if they can establish, like they did the first half, a couple turnovers from Middle Tennessee State. Their big guy Thomas is back in the game. If Dave can get aggressive, taking it down low to him, picking up maybe one more foul on him, creating a different situation, maybe something a little uncomfortable for Middle Tennessee State, I think that's where we're going to have the advantage.
We'll see if we see that matchup that we wanted to keep our eyes on of Steve Thomas, 6'9", as we said, a transfer from Georgia, and not just a transfer. He's a kid who started for 2 years in the Southeast Conference, and David Simon, of course, 6 feet 10 inch, both of them seniors, and 2 kids that I know have hopes of playing after college is over. We'll see if that materializes, because with the foul trouble Thomas had, didn't see him go head-to-head very much at all in the first half.
Well, that's a good matchup for Dave, too, to test where he's at. Thomas is a very physical player.
It looks like Simon's trying to work free inside. Sure, that's going to be a point of emphasis. He's got it right now at 6 in the first half underneath the basket. And did he draw the third foul on Thomas? 20 seconds into the second half, and I tell you what, head coach Kermit Davis beside himself cannot believe it. He's got to take his 6'9" kid back out of the game. He sat the final 9 minutes of the first half.
Well, that's what the coaches were looking at right there at halftime. Need to get the big guy in foul trouble. He played 5 minutes of first half.
Simon knocks down the free throw. 7th point of the game. IPFW back up by 2, and checking out of the game is 6'9" Steve Thomas with his 3rd personal foul. But I'm sure he likes head coach Kermit Davis, but he's probably sitting next to him a little bit too much here tonight.
Yeah, what you don't want to have happen is somebody like Weeks check into the game who's averaging 3 points on you and go off for 10 in the second half.
Simon gets 1 out of 2 from the line. Haven't seen many free throws, only 4 for Middle Tennessee State in the first half. Don's had just 3 on that one foul on the 3-point. Cuffey, see if he still has the hot hand. That 3 won't go. Weeks over the back of Carruthers, but with those long arms, he can do that. Fortunately, the Dons got the ball back. Almost an over and back turnover there. Got to be a little careful around that timeline. Bo Bauer, see if he has the hot hand. As he said, 16 points. Instead, it's another turnover. We knew about the quick hands and feet of Fats Kyler. He showed it there.
Just a good heads-up play. You know, you got to get in Bo if he's hit some shots on you. You don't want him to pull another one from 25 feet.
2-point lead for IPFW. Middle Tennessee State, as we said, trailed by as many as 8 late in the first half. Had a 9-1 run to close the half. Shot won't go, but the rebound tap right underneath. But Cuffey can't get the shot to go. That he steps on the baseline.
When you're that close, you got to finish the ball.
Yeah, I started to see a little bit of frustration on Middle Tennessee State. It's obviously still a long way to go, but just starting to see a little frustration start to creep in on their side. Some of the bounces just not going their way.
Well, they've had to take a lot of tough shots, and you credit IPFW on that for putting them in the same position. Their shooting percentage has gone down.
Jason Malone, little pull-up off the window. He planned it that way.
I guess you take it and call it a day.
Hey, we'll take it. Absolutely. 33-29. Cuffey with it over to Young, the 6'10 player along the baseline. Won't go. Rebound into the hands of Cuffey. Was a little bit too far out for Simon to corral that one. And they'll reset the offense. Kyler with it on top, guarded by Jason Malone. Gets it to Young on top, over to Cuffey in the corner. He's been the only consistent scorer. Dean, we'll see if he heats things up in the second half. He is, as we said, a 16-point scorer, had just 5 in the first half. You got to expect at some point he is going to catch fire here in the second half.
Well, they're a deceptive team and very athletic, and you never know what to expect from them. So you just got to keep putting them into situations where you're forcing them to take the jump shots, not letting them anything easy, and it'll wear on them down the stretch.
Simon missed the shot, and then he landed awkwardly. Let's hope that's not the knee bother him, and he is going to come out of the ball game here. He is hobbled badly right now and in obvious pain. Didn't exactly see what happened on that play, but he made an aggressive move to the basket and came down wincing in a lot of pain.
Bo Bauer a little aggressive there with the elbow. Coach Middle Tennessee not too happy.
Bauer will shoot the 3, won't go at this end, and the rebound to Cuffey. Simon really laboring as he heads down the court, looking for a break in the action to get him out of there. He's going to fight for the rebound, and personal foul will go against Middle Tennessee State. Kyle Young called for the foul. Simon will check out. Let's hope he is okay, because you can see the pain on his face.
Yeah, and the one thing you got to do when you're Bo Bauer right now, you've knocked down some very good shots in the first half. You got to get it going again. But for all the young kids out there, anytime you feel good, you're shooting the ball well, you still got to rely on the basics, getting your feet set, squaring your shoulders up, and you can't afford to take any off-balance shots.
Simon on the bench. Butler puts up the shot, won't go. Rebound to Middle Tennessee State. Morrison, Bauer scrapping in there, gets the steal, calls the quick timeout. Great hustle play there by Bo Bauer. We've got a break in the action. We'll be right back. 33-31. Don's on top. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
What's up? The show's a 7. Whoa.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
How does a business become one of Northeast Indiana's 50 best places to work? How can you show your support for higher education and gain the ear of Indiana's lawmakers? Why is an IPFW history professor involved in a college textbook project in Albania? You'll get the answers to these questions and much more on this month's edition of IPFW Up Close. You can see it Sundays at noon on College Cable Access Channel 56.
Back once again.
Hey, fist!
There's a look at David Simon. Came out of the game hobbled. Let's hope that he'll be able to shake it off. Not exactly sure what happened, but he made an aggressive move to the basket. Came up a little bit lame.
Help him, Kyle! Help him!
Butler inside. Good aggressive move by Butler. Couldn't get it to fall, but somehow Bo Bauer comes out with it. He can't get the close-in shot to go.
You like to see Butler getting some touches and some good looks.
Quentin's going to have to pick it up with Simon on the bench, and Quentin's going to be called. Or was that Carruthers with the foul?
That was Carruthers right there. You're in a tough position right when you're underneath the basket. Anytime somebody tries to drive on you. Q's got to step out, though, right outside the paint, get his feet set, try to take that charge, and be a little more alert on the help side.
Dean at the free throw line. Perhaps the free throw line will get his offensive game going. Knocks down the first one. So he said came in averaging 16 points a game. He's a 72% free throw shooter. He, like Steve Thomas, a transfer from the University of Georgia. And good news to see David Simon is going to check back in the game, but we've got a timeout. We'll take a timeout as well. And we'll be back. 33-31, Don's on top. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Mom, Dad, you know we love kids, and I've made a decision that will totally change my life. Cameron's too. It's a huge responsibility, leading someone into, who knows, communication or science or math. That's what life's all about, right? Learning so you can pass on knowledge to younger minds. Dad, Mom, I want to be a teacher.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
What's ahead for the future of Northeast Indiana? One answer lies with the graduates of our fine area colleges and universities. Hi, I'm Phil Laux, president of the Greater Fort Wayne Chamber of Commerce. And when you support an area college or university, you support the economic growth and development of where we live. Graduates of these higher education institutions are working hard to grow our local economy. I urge you to support your area university or college with your time, your talent, and your treasure. Our college grads are a vital part of Northeast Indiana's continued success.
Back from the break, Dean connects on this. Ties the game at 33.
Watch out, offensive push off.
Middle Tennessee in a different look, trying to full court press.
Ball knocked out of bounds. David Simon back into the game. That's certainly good news. Left the game in some obvious pain. Fortunately, a couple of minutes on the bench and he's back in. Looks like he's limping just a little bit. Did not look like it was anything with the knee. Inbounds. How do you leave Bauer open for the three? This time it doesn't fall. It was halfway down the well, but came back up. He had 5 threes in that first half. Somehow they left him alone. Now a loose ball. Simon with it. Simon ahead to Malone. He'll hold it up back to Bauer. Thought about the three. Penetrates underneath. Hawkins in traffic off the window. No Simon. Big rebound. He's going to be fouled. He'll go to the free throw line.
Right there, Hawkins has to go straight up with it. That extra dribble allowed the defense to collapse on him.
Simon will go to the line. He's been there for 2 shots so far. He's 1 out of 2. He's 3 of 9 from the field. Does lead IPFW with 7 rebounds tonight. And free throw a little bit short. 3 substitutions check in for Middle Tennessee State. Take a look at from a little bit earlier. The rebound won't go, and Simon comes down gimpy. That's from about 5 minutes ago. Fortunately, looks like he's having no effects of it. Well, he's still wincing as he comes down the floor.
He has that grimace, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He gets 1 out of 2 free throws. That 1 free throw puts IPFW back on top, 34-33. Thomas really has not been a factor in this game, and now another turnover by Middle Tennessee State. Malone over to Bauer. Bauer might have pushed off, will put up the shot and knock down his 6th three-pointer of the game for Bo Bauer. He has 19 points.
Off balance, falling out of bounds. You just got to give him credit. He's feeling pretty good.
He's got a lot of savvy for a sophomore. I thought he might have gave a little shove off to create some space for the shot with the left arm. Got away with it, then he gets a rebound. Bo Bauer having the game of the year so far for the Mastodons.
Good defense by Dave. He's putting pressure on Thomas, not giving him anything easy, and making him work for everything, especially since he hasn't been in the game very long.
Carruthers going for 3. That one won't go, and a rebound by Middle Tennessee State. The lead is 4. As we near the 14-minute mark. Thomas, harassed inside, goes up and draws the foul on David Simon.
A little body right there. Dave leaned into him, gave him a little knee, pushed him out of the way. You got to be careful right down low where the refs are.
Thomas, 6 feet 9 inches, very athletic, has been plagued by foul trouble the entire game. He's looking for his first point of the night. Knocks down the first one.
Gotta rebound the ball, Mark.
As we said 2 years ago, started 22 games at the University of Georgia. Of course, that's a program that then went through some turmoil with Coach Herrick. The infamous exam. How many points do you get for a 3-point shot? Some of the classics. Several people transferred out of that program. Thomas, one of them, ending up here at Middle Tennessee State.
And he's a good fit for the program here.
Shot will go, gets 1 out of 2. The lead remains 3. Bo Bauer with 19 points. He's hit 6 out of 9 from outside the 3-point arc. Some where he's been wide open from deep, others where he's been guarded. Malone kicks it out to Carruthers. Quick hands there. Steal by Cuffey, but Bauer comes from the back and tips it out of bounds. Thought he tipped it off of Cuffey, but instead it's off him. But nonetheless, prevented a bucket for the Blue Raiders.
Well, Bo tried to change the ref's mind, but I don't think he was budging any.
Those usually don't work. You can try as much as you want, but I've yet to see one actually work. But everybody tries. Inbound to Thomas, and 6'9" misses it inside. And boy, the frustration, you can see it there, and then he's tied up. It's just so difficult to get into the flow of the game, especially for a big man when you've been on the bench.
Coaches aren't too happy with him right here. They're sitting right in front of us, and you know, how can you be when you have somebody as big as Thomas, 6'9", 245? You know, he needs to finish when he's right around the rim.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't slam that one home. He tried to lay it in. Quick move to the basket, but you can see the potential immediately. He gets the bucket right there.
Sign of a good player, keeps going back after it.
37-36. Dons in a tight one with a 1-point lead. Pete Campbell over to Simon, working on Thomas. Like to get the 4th foul on him. Over to Malone. He'll try for 3. Looks good. We had a great angle on that shot.
Dave Simon utilizes one of his strengths right there. He's got great vision on the court when he gets it down low. He saw Malone standing out there by himself, got him the ball.
Big 3-pointer there by Malone. He's got 5, and it gives the Dons a 4-point lead. And a traveling violation there on Thomas. Try to put on that ball fake. He's 6'9", thought he was 6'1" at that point.
Well, the game that he's had so far, you score 1 basket, you just want it to keep going. But, you know, a little too excited right there when he got the ball.
The real surprise for me is Thomas, you understand foul trouble. People get in foul trouble. But Mike Dean has just been very silent. Only 7 points. He is their leading scorer and one of their more athletic players. Simon, that's the move we're looking for. That's what Coach Knoll wants to see out of him. A great play.
That's exciting basketball right there. Dave catches it and gets aggressive, and that's what you need him to do.
Explosive first step. The Dons lead it by 6. We'll take a break. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Paper, pencils. We only ask that you do your best.
And make you a snack.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
How does a business become one of Northeast Indiana's 50 best places to work? How can you show your support for higher education and gain the ear of Indiana's lawmakers? Why is an IPFW history professor involved in a college textbook project in Albania? You'll get the answers to these questions and much more on this month's edition of IPFW Up Close. You can see it Sundays at noon on College Cable Access Channel 56.
Back to live action. While we were away, Middle Tennessee State scored 4 quick points. The referee's not exactly minding the television timeout of 90 seconds. And after 4 quick points, cuts it to 42-40. They take another timeout. We'll take another quick timeout. Be right back. Dons now with a 2-point lead. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN. I guess we're not going to take a break. We'll keep it right here. The refs were supposed to take a 90-minute timeout, or 90-second timeout. Instead, they took about a 45-second timeout, unfortunately. But Michael Cuffey got a bucket. David Simon picked up a foul. Missed the free throw. Take a look here at the quick move, though, by David Simon. Just before the break as he finishes it off with a big jam. And that first step really the key on that play.
Well, that's what you like the big guy to do, is catch it square and rip through. The coaches really stress ripping through when you got the ball.
So IPFW, that lead was 6. And then in about 20 seconds, or 15 seconds actually, it was cut down to 2. Doug Knoll took a quick timeout to try to stop the bleeding. Dons still lead it by 2 and need to show some composure here in the final 12 minutes of the game. They've played well. They need to finish it off. That's been a key for several of the home games, maintaining that intensity for 40 minutes.
And you had Cuffey down here, hadn't scored a bucket in a while, got to the free throw line. That's what you need him to do if you're Middle Tennessee State.
Bauer, can he hit another 3? Yes, he can. Cole Bauer with the pump of the fist. He is on fire. 22 points, his 7th three-pointer, and the Dons back up by 5. Bauer putting the team on his back.
Not only offensively, but he's made some very good defensive plays as well, creating some turnovers.
And dangerous pass and stolen by Malone, but he stepped on the baseline. It'll go back to Middle Tennessee State. We have another break in the action. 45-40, Dons back up by 5. We'll be right back. You're watching UPN basketball on Fort Wayne.
Hi. I was wondering if you wanted to go out maybe or something, if you had time.
I can tell by your excitable behavior and verbal faux pas that you have generalized anxiety with paranoid tendencies. It would never work.
Okay, thanks.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
How does a business become one of Northeast Indiana's 50 best places to work? How can you show your support for higher education and gain the ear of Indiana's lawmakers? Why is an IPFW history professor involved in a college textbook project in Albania? You'll get the answers to these questions and much more on this month's edition of IPFW Up Close. You can see it Sundays at noon on College Cable Access Channel 56.
90-second timeout. We certainly appreciate that. IPFW on top, 45-40, 11:35 to play in the game. You see Kermit Davis right there, the head coach for Middle Tennessee State, not happy with his team. But it's tough, you know, most of the shots that Bo Bauer has hit, you really can't fault the defense, because if he's going to take a 25-footer, you're usually going to give him that shot. He's also knocked down a couple of shots with a hand in his face.
And it's been on both ends. You know, Middle Tennessee has taken some real tough shots as well, knocked them down. But their biggest problem is they just cannot get going. Middle Tennessee cannot. And that's really a credit, again, to IPFW's defense and the way they've been able to force those turnovers.
Don's guarding the inbound to Weeks, won't go, but you see the athleticism, gets the putback. Weeks, a 6'8" sophomore.
Let it guard, Mo.
The lead cut down to 3. Bo Bauer. See if he can hit another one. Over to Jason Malone, Quentin Butler, David Simon getting a rest right now. He's got 10.7 rebound. Dean with a quick steal, transition the other way, and that's how dangerous he is. You know you weren't going to keep him quiet for long.
No, something like that will get him going. He's going to look for the ball a little more, be a little more aggressive on the defense, which created the turnover, allows him to get in his rhythm.
Malone, the aggressive drive won't go. Ball knocked out of bounds off of Middle Tennessee State. If you heard that little outburst, that was Coach Kermit Davis not agreeing with that call.
Well, again, we couldn't see it from our angle. But Simon back in. Simon really needs to take advantage of Weeks down there.
David with 10 points, 7 rebounds. The big fella, Steve Thomas, on the bench once again. Still only has 3 fouls, so actually at this point of the game, he's probably in decent shape, but he just has not been effective when he's been in there. Bauer, another long 3. High arcer on that one, won't go. Rebound saved by Malone and saved off of Middle Tennessee State. It'll be IPFW ball.
Great hustle play. That's what you like to see out of your point guard right there.
Jason Malone, the freshman, with the heads-up play. Still wears the bandage on that left hand. And then the pass tipped away, but it'll be back to IPFW.
Those are plays you want to avoid right now. Middle Tennessee, they're getting in the passing lane and creating some turnovers. It allows them to get back in the game, gain a little confidence right now.
Especially a pass like that, if it is intercepted cleanly, that's an easy 2 points in a hurry. Dons with a 1-point lead, looking to add to it. Malone penetrates and throws it right to the head coach, and that is never good. Coach Knoll with the basketball right there, probably biting his tongue. Not real happy with that pass.
Yeah, I think Jason was a little excited right there. Thought he saw somebody out of the corner of his eye. It wasn't one of his teammates on the floor.
It's one of those you hope it lands in anyone's hands but Coach Knoll, but that's the breaks of the game at some point. Chance for Middle Tennessee State to take a lead. Smithson shot no. Good rebound by Justin Hawkins. Not a good possession that time by Middle Tennessee State, with a chance to take a lead, one they have not had in a long time, since very, very early in this game.
Outside, B.
Justin Hawkins looking inside for Simon, and Simon's going to draw a foul on Weeks.
Dave's doing a good job working down there, getting his positioning. The guy's got to recognize that. If Quentin Carruthers is on the right side, he's got to clear out, give David some room to operate.
16 foul. We have not seen many fouls at all in this basketball game. I don't think either team got into the bonus in the first half. Don's 1 away from getting into the bonus here in the second half with about 10 minutes to go. Bauer off the inbounds, and the Dons lose the basketball. Now we've hit a little stretch in the game where play has got a little sloppy, like we saw at the very start.
Yeah, with the score as close as it is right now, Don's 1-point lead. They can't afford to be sloppy.
Big possession here. Anytime it's a one-point game, Middle Tennessee State playing on the road. They've been climbing the mountain the entire game. They have not been able to get over the top. Chance to do it right here, and Dean knocks it down. Middle Tennessee State takes the lead.
His earlier possession when he got in the passing lane, stole the ball for a fast break, really got him going again like it should anytime you have a primetime scorer.
We'll see how the Dons respond here. Bo Bauer with it. Malone going into Simon. That's what you want to see. Nice move, and we'll draw the contact, and we'll shoot 2 free throws.
Great move by Dave Simon. Got the ball, recognized his position. Probably needed to use the glass right there, soften his touch a little bit so he could go to the line for the and one.
Simon goes to the line for the game. 2 out of 4. He has 10 points, 7 rebounds. 2 free throws would tie the game. First one is perfect. Well, it sounds like we have a microphone right on that rim. I like that.
You always like to hear that sound.
Perfect swish. And even when it bounces in, you'll be happy with that as well. Both count the same. We're tied up again at 47.
What you don't want, what you don't want is Cuffey and Dean getting off right now. Both excellent scorers.
Dean is the big concern for me, just knowing his reputation and the fact he's been so quiet for so long. Last couple of minutes, he's really picked it up. Cuffey really working hard down low. Can't get him the ball. He's got a big size advantage on Malone.
Bo's got to be careful with the shot clock here, not to foul the shooter.
Down to 5. Dean with a tough shot. Won't go. Shot clock at 1, and Morrison gets it just before. That's a tough break for the Dons. Played defense for 34 seconds. And Malone turns it over. Here comes Smithson all the way. He'll get the easy 2, and the lead is now 4 points for the Blue Raiders. A couple of sloppy possessions in a row. Coach Noel will call a timeout, try to right the ship. We'll take a break as well. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
You know, if she continues to spill product at a rate of 3 per hour, unit cost, say 60 cents. Factor in breakage, downtime, lost sales. You're looking at $2,400 a month. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
What's ahead for the future of Northeast Indiana? One answer lies with the graduates of our fine area colleges and universities. Hi, I'm Phil Laux, president of the Greater Fort Wayne Chamber of Commerce. And when you support an area college or university, you support the economic growth and development of where we live. Graduates of these higher education institutions are working hard to grow our local economy. I urge you to support your area university or college with your time, your talent, and your treasure. Our college grads are a vital part of Northeast Indiana's continued success.
Back to live action. Still a 4-point game. Middle Tennessee State on top with the ball. Dean along the baseline. Tough shot won't go. Tap up, no. Rebound finally corralled by Pete Campbell. You know, Campbell has been very quiet for the Dons. Just 2 points. He's the type of player that if he gets hot from that 3-point line, we've seen him hit some big ones.
You definitely want the ball in his hands on the outside, but right now it's important to get it back into Dave.
Bauer with the pass that time, knocked back off of Bauer and back out of bounds. We'll keep it right here during this break. 7:18 to play. Raiders with a 51-47 lead right now. 7 minutes, 18 seconds to go. Brad, the Dons had an 8-point lead in the first half. It was closed to 1 in the second. I believe they had a 5-point lead here in the second, but now they trail it by 4. They've got to do something to right the ship.
The key point is anytime you let a team like this hang around, they're good enough to go off and explode on you, knock a couple buckets down, go on a small run, and all of a sudden what you think was a 5-point lead is now a 4-point deficit.
As we look at the numbers at this point, Bo Bauer leading all scorers with 22 points. Some confusion here at the scorer's bench.
A technical foul has been assessed to the Blue Raiders, number 20, Alex Weeks. That is his 5th foul.
Alex Weeks has been called for a technical foul. I didn't see what happened with that, but that technical foul is his 5th, and he is out of the game, and he has really showed some good hops off the bench. So that's a key loss for the Red Raiders.
Definitely. That's one of those guys coming in averaging 3 points a game. You don't want him to get off, but he has done a good job filling in for Thomas, who has been on the bench most of this game.
Only 4 points, but he has 6 rebounds and has been a pretty good defender from what we've seen for the most part. Really gives them some energy off the bench. So Thomas will check back into the game, but 7:18 to go. What's Coach Noel looking for here down the stretch?
Well, the big thing right now is consistency, and on the offensive and defensive end, we got to get the guys touches, move the ball, and what he's telling them is make the defense work. Right now, you make the defense work. With 7 minutes to go, force them into some situations. Thomas is back in the game. Get it back down to Dave. Get him in foul trouble again, like they've been successful with so far. But make the defense work. Come down on our defensive end, and don't let them have any easy shots or put them to the free throw line.
Kind of interesting. One of the assistant coaches for Middle Tennessee State came over to us and asked us if we saw what happened with Weeks, because honestly, we did not. I saw the referee go over the bench. I never saw him motion the T signal, and usually with the referee, that's pretty quick and pretty obvious. We did not see what happened. And neither did their bench, and apparently they didn't get enough of an explanation. They're getting one right now from the official.
It looked like the fans over in the corner, they were able to see or hear what had happened. They got pretty excited about it, and they understand the reasoning behind it. But from our angle, we didn't see really what had happened.
Some of the fans over in that corner get a little excited about everything. They certainly enjoy themselves here at the IPFW games. Something told me that the weather would not keep those kids away tonight.
No, that is the Dave Simon fan club, the family over there. I don't know if they've missed a game.
So Pete Campbell will get the free throw, and it's a big miss. You can't miss the free ones like this. You got to make them pay for that technical. He'll get another one as well.
This is something Pete's got to take advantage of. Anytime you're a shooter and haven't had the opportunities to put up some shots tonight, you got to go back to the free throw line, establish your rhythm, and see if you can't get some more touches.
So Campbell gets 1 out of 2, and one thing you're going to see from freshmen, true freshmen especially, is peaks and valleys. And Pete Campbell searching for some of that consistency. He'll go off for 15, 16 one night, but then have 2 or 3 the next. But that's what you can expect from such a young player.
As they say, the best thing about freshmen is they become sophomores.
Yeah, very good. Spoken like a coach's son right there. Bad three-point shot. It barely caught a fraction of the rim. Goes out of bounds. The Dons with the ball and a chance on a three-pointer to tie it, or a two-pointer to get within 1. Let's see if they go back inside to Simon. Big Steve Thomas is back in the game. He replaced Weeks. Bauer for 3, and that one won't go. Rebound kicked out high and right back into the hands of Bauer. So they'll reset it. 6.5 minutes to play in the game. 3-point lead for Middle Tennessee State. They trailed by as many as 8 tonight. But right now they're up by 3. Dons need to respond. Simon, aggressive move. Eye off the window for 2.
Dave's alert right now. That's what you need. A nice tip out to Bo Bauer so they could reset the offense.
Lead cut to 1. Back at the other end. There you see the score, 51-50. Smith's in, quick penetration, little pull-up, hits the tough shot. Lead goes back up to 3. Bo Bauer will bring it across the line. He has a game-high 22 points, 7 out of 12 from the three-point line. He's only taken 2 two-pointers, and a bad pass there is going to be a solo jam at the other end. A little showtime Marcus Morrison with the bucket. It's now a 5-point lead for Middle Tennessee State.
Those are mistakes we need to eliminate right now. Last 5 minutes of the game, every possession is an important one. We've got to treat it like the last possession of the game.
One stat that really jumps out as the Dons take it in. Quentin Butler, nice high-low action between David Simon and Butler, but 21 points off turnovers for Middle Tennessee State. We talked early on, they only had 2. Since then, they've got 19, and we knew they were a transition team, and they've showed it here in the last 10 minutes or so. Inside to Cuffey, fouled before the shot. Pete Campbell will get the foul, just the 4th on IPFW. 8 so far called on Middle Tennessee State. We'll see what type of a role that plays as we near the 5-minute mark. Jason Malone checks in. Bo Bauer will get a little breather to come back for the final minutes of this game.
It was encouraging to see the way Dave Simon and Quentin Butler worked together down at the other end. Nice high-low game they had.
Pete Campbell also checks out. Justin Hawkins in, and an easy 2 points on the inbound. Somebody missed an assignment, and Thomas was going to finish that one. He wasn't going to lay it in.
It's your help side right there. Dave Simon did a good job hedging out because you've got a perimeter guy breaking away for an open 3. He's got to step out, show, get his hand in the passing lane.
Simon wisely, after the ball was tipped away, was able to bounce it off of Smithson's leg. Dons will get the ball back, trailing by 5. Couple of big jams here in the last minute of the game for Middle Tennessee State. Into Simon, he'll go up too hard, and they're going to have a foul against Middle Tennessee State underneath. Mike Dean whistled for the foul on Malone. Dons will shoot free throws from here on out. After the next foul, they'll be shooting 2. Right now, they'll get 1 and the bonus for Jason Malone. Just a 50% shooter on the year, but hasn't been there too many times. Everyone critical here as we go down the stretch. And it curls out.
Coaches are going to look back at missed opportunities like that at the end of the game, win or lose, and you know, you can't think twice but to say those are all big shots.
6 out of 12, just 50% for the game for the Dons, and that's some critical misses there. 5-point game, big possession, 3-point try, and knocked down by Fats Kyler, a guy not known for his scoring, only averages 4 a game, but that's a big one. It bumps the lead up to 8. Jason Malone will try to answer. Quick 3 at the other end, no good. And good job fighting by Butler underneath, and then he's going to be fouled by Thomas, and that'll be the 4th one. Thomas fouled from the floor.
Well, I think Butler just felt somebody rubbing against him, went into him, and was able to draw the foul. May not be pretty, but ones that will take down the stretch, and definitely something that we need here with 4 minutes to go.
Dons really got to start cashing in from the line. Can't emphasize that enough. They're in the double bonus the final 4 minutes. Well, Middle Tennessee State still with only, they're 3 away from getting into the bonus. Quentin Butler gets the first one. That's a good sign. Cuts the lead to 7. Bo Bauer, you knew he wasn't going to be on the bench for long. He checks back in. Pete Campbell checks back in. A couple of good 3-point shooters.
Down the stretch here, Bauer's got to play headsy, getting Dave involved, Quentin Butler involved. They're working a good inside game right now. You can't take away from that. But at the same time, you got Bauer, who's 7 of 12 from 3 tonight. He's got to look at it.
By Quentin Butler, cuts the lead to 6. Steve Thomas, the big fella, has 4 personal fouls for Middle Tennessee State. David Simon has 3 for IPFW. Shot won't go. Cuffey with a big rebound, and he's going to be fouled underneath. He'll shoot 2 free throws. And Cuffey, when he goes after those rebounds, really goes at it with an abandon. We have a timeout in play. We'll take a timeout. 60-54 is our score. Come back for an exciting finish. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Everything you need, paper, pencils.
We only ask that you do your best. And make you a snack.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
How does a business become one of Northeast Indiana's 50 best places to work? How can you show your support for higher education and gain the ear of Indiana's lawmakers? Why is an IPFW history professor involved in a college textbook project in Albania? You'll get the answers to these questions and much more on this month's edition of IPFW Up Close. You can see it Sundays at noon on College Cable Access Channel 56.
Back once again, the final 3 minutes, 43 seconds of this game at the Coliseum. Pat Hoffman along with Brad Knoll. And right now the Raiders will go to the line looking to add to a 6-point lead. Michael Cuffey, who has been tremendous tonight. He has 15.7 rebounds, 7 out of 10 from the field, and hits the free throw.
Yeah, we just talked about, for the most part, Middle Tennessee has a balanced scoring attack. 12 from Dean, 11 Morrison, and 16 from Cuffey.
IPFW led by basically David Simon with 14, Bo Bauer with 22. Nobody else with more than 6. Quentin Butler has those 6. And Cuffey gets 2 big free throws. The lead is up to 8 again, 62-54. Dons need a bucket on this possession. 3 would be wonderful, but they'd like a high percentage shot inside if they could get it.
They're calling play Tennessee right now, which gives the ball back to Bo Bauer.
Bauer penetrates, shot was halfway down, wouldn't go. Thomas up high for the rebound. He's going to be fouled by Quentin Butler.
Ryan, nice job of making a 1, B.
There's a miscommunication right there on IPFW's part. They have a play called Tennessee. And the way it's set up, Pete Campbell was supposed to come back and get the ball. Bo Bauer had to scramble around and take what was a forced shot.
3rd foul on Quentin Butler, 6th on the team. Next one in Middle Tennessee will be shooting free throws. As we mentioned, the Dons already in the double bonus. Fats Kiley, who had a big 3-pointer, now tried the alley-oop to Smithson, won't go, but Smithson with great hustle comes out of there with the basketball. 15 on the shot clock. Thomas trying to free up inside. Dean, bad pass, 5 on the shot clock. Dean gets it back, tries to create his own contact. Ref didn't buy it. Thomas puts up a shot, won't go. Out of bounds. 1 second they'll put back on the shot clock.
Good defense by Dave Simon right there. He had to scramble around. 2 guys try to throw up some off-balance shots. You do not want to foul.
So just 1 second on the shot clock. Obviously, don't let him get anything near the basket on the inbounds. Although we've seen, if you watch that IU Charlotte game a little while ago, you can do a lot in the second. Smithson will inbounds. Cuffey puts it up, got it away. Partially blocked. It'll be a shot clock violation, and the Dons will get the ball back.
Dave Simon really created that defensive play right there, in the last probably 10 seconds he was involved.
Dons really need a bucket on this possession. They trail it by 8. They have led by as many as 8. Middle Tennessee State, as we mentioned, a team with an outstanding 9-4 record. They have 22 points in the paint, 21 points off turnovers. Dons with just 10 in the paint. Make it 12, though, as David Simon scores on cue.
Good recognition by Campbell right there. Was outside, didn't want to force anything. We don't need 3s early, but Dave sealed his guy, was wide open, and he tried to draw the contact.
And away from the basketball, Bo Bauer is going to be called for a foul on Smithson. Coach Knoll can't believe it. We can hear Bo Bauer. He's only about 8 feet away from us, trying to tell the ref that he grabbed his arm, kind of pulled him down, tried to make it look like it. Obviously, those type of things do happen, and if you do them well, then more power to you, I guess.
All right.
Smithson, a very heady type player. He'll get a chance to shoot one and the bonus, and misses the free throw. Middle Tennessee State 8 for 12 from the line. Don's 8 for 14, so neither team lighting it up. Bauer with it as we near the 2-minute mark. 6-point game. David Simon looking for a big hoop here. Kicks it out to Bauer. Outside the arc. Good defense by Smithson.
Stay close, Brian.
He'll shoot that.
Don's looking inside to Simon. He's guarded by Thomas. Got 2 guys on Simon right now. Bauer will put up the 3. Won't go, but look at the putback jam.
Nice read by Quentin Butler.
Pretty clear to see nobody checked out Quentin Butler. He saw that rebound and put it down. That cuts the lead down to 4, 62 to 58, and the folks that did brave this horrible weather to come out certainly enjoying that putback by Quentin Butler.
Well, one thing you don't want to get stagnant on offense, and they were running out of time. Bo had to put up the shot. Quentin Butler was there, and that's the type of intensity you need with 1.5 minutes to go in a ball game.
With in that last possession, really looked like the defense collapsing around David Simon. Obviously, you want to go into David, but when the defense is doing that, what are your options?
Well, the one thing you cannot do is Dave Simon caught the ball about 15 to 16 feet out. Didn't have good position, so by the time he back his guy down, you're still 10 feet away from the bucket. That's a jump shot when you turn and square up. Dave's really got to catch it 10 feet out, take a couple back down dribbles, and now you're 6 feet away. That's a small turnaround jump up for him.
Minute 36 to play. Quentin Butler with the huge putback jam, and you don't often see putback jams on 3-point shots. Sometimes when you got like a 10-12 foot shot, but usually those 3-point shots is going to be a higher, longer rebound.
No, you've definitely got to time that correctly. Bo Bauer's going to get in a position. Shot clock's running down. He's got to shoot it. You see 23, Cuffey right there. Go to Dave. Quentin Butler, nice finish.
Boy, we had a shot from the back there, but if we had a shot from the other angle, I bet his eyes were as wide as could be when he saw that clear lane to the basket and the rebound coming back towards him. That's the type of athleticism that Quentin Butler has, and that's a big, that's an emotional type play. He now has 8 points, 5 rebounds. Dons have cut it to 4, 62-58, 1.5 minutes to play. They need a defensive stop here. 4-point game.
Don't need a foul right away, just enough time on the shot clock to get the ball back. A couple possessions left in the ball game.
Thomas really battling inside with Simon. He's playing with 4 fouls as we near the final minute. Shot clock inside 10. Dean can create his own shot into the lane. Tough drive. Scoop won't go. Rebound, Bo Bauer.
That's why you don't foul right there. A lot of people ask, why don't you foul? Get him on the free throw line. We need to get the ball back, see what happens this possession.
Final minute of play. Bauer into the lane, tries to draw contact and does. Oh, they call a travel. Coach Knoll goes down to a knee. I thought for sure he was trying to draw the contact. Dons might have to. It looks like they're going to try to play defense here instead of going for the foul, and instead Middle Tennessee State makes the decision easy with a turnover.
Good heads-up play. We got to get the ball back, create something for Dave Simon down low. Just unfortunate what happened to Bo on that travel, but a great heads-up play. You got to take it down there, draw the foul, see if you can't get to the free throw line, score some buckets while the clock's stopped right now.
45 to play. It's a 4-point Middle Tennessee State lead. Dons trying to cut it to 2 or 1 with a 3. Bauer again on the drive, tipped away from behind, and it's off of IPFW. It goes back to Middle Tennessee State. Obviously, in this situation, the Dons will now have to foul or go for the quick steal first. Jason Malone will check in for Pete Campbell. Dons had a chance there. Bauer on Kyler, got him along the baseline, and they'll get the foul.
Get him huddled.
Jason Malone checks in for his defensive efforts, and look for Pete Campbell probably to come back in here in just a second.
Kyler hit 2 free throws at his early trip to the line earlier, as we said, coming in. Not the kind of free throw shooter you want from your point guard. Only 43%. Granted, he's only taken 14 free throws coming in, knocked down 6. But generally, your point guard is a good free throw shooter because he handles the ball in close games down the stretch. Kyler misses the front end of the bonus, so the Dons with another chance. Middle Tennessee State certainly opening the door for IPFW. See if they'll enter. Bauer with it. 23 seconds to go. Still a 4-point game. Thomas at 6'9", too tall to shoot over. 17 seconds over to Quentin Butler. He'll drive, put up the shot and hit it. The lead cut to 2. And a quick timeout by Doug Knoll. It's a 2-point game with 13 seconds to play.
Still enough time. A good decision by Bauer not to force anything. You're standing about 22 to 25 feet away and don't need the 3. Just need a quick bucket. Get him here, foul. Hopefully you can foul Kyler again. Get him to the line.
13.6 seconds to play. The Dons involved in another close one down the stretch. As we mentioned, they led by a point at the half. Right now they trail by 2. Hoping to pull one out, possibly force overtime. They would love overtime at this point.
Well, in this situation, there's a couple things you can do. One option we tried in the past is you set a guy up on the baseline. Hopefully you can look to switch, maybe even take a charge right now. If you can do something like that, you go for the steal right away. But if they do get the ball in, we've got to foul. Make sure we put it in the hands of somebody that we would rather have shooting a free throw, such as Kyler, as opposed to one of their premier scorers, Dean or Cuffey.
Middle Tennessee State talking to the refs. I think they're asking about the timeout situation. I think IPFW is out of timeouts. I'm not a great lip reader, but I believe that's what the officials said. Take a look here at the last basket by the Dons, which cut it to 2. Butler with a tough shot. Got it to fall. He's hit 2 big ones here down the stretch. Kyler will be inbounding the basketball. Justin Hawkins will guard him. He can run the floor. They get it in to Dean, who is a very good free throw shooter, 72%. Not great, but you'll take that. Can't afford to be too choosy, though. 12 seconds to go. Didn't want to give him a chance to run the clock down too much. Don's hoping at the very least that he hits only 1 out of 2 here. Of course, you'd love to see him miss the first one. Then the Dons would have a chance for the final shot to tie or win it.
Well, whatever his free throw percentage is, when you're a player like Dean, you're a scorer like Dean, you want the ball in your hands, and that's what happened in that play. They cleared off the left side of the court for Dean to come straight to the ball. Bo had no option other than the foul.
David Simon checks back in. Dean has had a tough shooting night. 4 for 12 from the field, just 2 out of 4 from three-point line, but he is 2 for 2 from the free throw line. As we said, 72%. Even if he makes both, the game is not over, but it certainly would make it a 2-possession game with 12 seconds, and that's going to be a tall order for the Dons if he makes 2. The first one's the big one, and it's a little short, but he gets the shooter's roll. It's now a 3-point game. Dons need to box out on a potential miss here because they've got a couple of jumping jacks for Middle Tennessee State underneath. Here's the big one. Looks perfect. So it's a 4-point game, 12 seconds to go. The Red Raiders will take a timeout, this time discussing defensive strategy. Well, down 4 with 12 to go. What are your options now?
You still got to go for the quick 2. I mean, you got plenty of time. As you noted earlier, you watch Indiana play, 1 second could do you in. But at the same time, spread the floor right now. Get the ball moving north and south, not east and west. You got to get somebody penetrating, dishing over to Dave Simon. You know, Bo doesn't need to settle right now for any threes. Perimeter needs to keep moving, though. If it's open, you've got to take it, but look for somebody to drive, possibly dish, or take it in themselves, jump stop, get fouled. I'd like to see a 3-point play right here, but let's create it from down low first, and then just put them back to the free throw line and see if we can't better our odds.
So Michael Dean, it's what you expect from your seniors, even on their tough nights. He's the guy you want at the line down the stretch. He hit both clutch free throws. The Dons now down 4. Middle Tennessee State will set up their defense. Obviously, the Dons would love to see any type of foul. Middle Tennessee State will do everything they can not to foul. They go the length of the floor pass to Simon. He's going to drive to the basket, tries to draw the contact, can't get the bucket to fall. I thought it was going to go down for a minute, but he will get 2 free throws and still 7.9 on the clock.
That's the and one you're looking for, but what better position? You can score baskets here when the clock is stopped, and that's right now IPFW needs to hit these 2.
Try to press, just tell him what alignment you want.
Simon, his first free throw, he has 2 coming and it won't go. 66% on the year. Gotta hit this one and then set up your defense. Second one was perfect, so it's a 3-point game. 7.9 seconds left to play. Dons trail by 3. Fats Kyler again will inbound the ball. Hawkins will pressure him. Quick into Dean, and the Dons have nowhere else to go. They have to foul Dean, and not only is that a tough option, but it will also be the 10th foul on the Dons. So that means Dean gets 2 free throws instead of 1. And basically, he needs to miss them both.
Yeah, well, Middle Tennessee, the whole ball game has just kept fighting, scrapping, clawing. You know, they have had some problems with some turnovers, but you know, they stay in your face, and that shows by the balanced scoring that they have. And you know, what I look at right now is points off of turnovers. They've been able to create on IPFW's misfortunes.
That free throw, Dean is perfect, 5 for 5, makes it a 4-point game. So it's a 2-possession game with 6.8 to go. It's now a 5-point game. Dons don't have much time now. Pete Campbell got to put up a quick 3 here. Tries to draw the contact, won't go. Campbell will get the putback. That foul won't go. And the final horn sounds, and the Blue Raiders come to the Coliseum on a very cold and icy night, and they get the win on the road with a nice second-half comeback. They beat the Dons final of 66-61. Brad and I will come back and have a recap on this one. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
What's up? The show's at 7. Whoa.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
What's ahead for the future of Northeast Indiana? One answer lies with the graduates of our fine area colleges and universities. Hi, I'm Phil Laux, president of the Greater Fort Wayne Chamber of Commerce. And when you support an area college or university, you support the economic growth and development of where we live. Graduates of these higher education institutions are working hard to grow our local economy. I urge you to support your area university or college with your time, your talent, and your treasure. Our college grads are a vital part of Northeast Indiana's continued success.
How does a business become one of Northeast Indiana's 50 best places to work? How can you show your support for higher education and gain the ear of Indiana's lawmakers? Why is an IPFW history professor involved in a college textbook project in Albania? You'll get the answers to these questions and much more on this month's edition of IPFW Up Close. You can see it Sundays at noon on College Cable Access Channel 56.
And we welcome you back to the Memorial Coliseum. Pat Hoffman along with Brad Knoll and the IPFW Mastodons. Brad fought hard tonight against a very good team. Let one kind of slip away down the stretch. Middle Tennessee State, though, to their credit, really turned up the intensity the final 10 minutes.
They did. They hung in there. They capitalized on a lot of turnovers by IPFW. You look at points in the paint, 22 for Middle Tennessee State, 14 for IPFW. Another key stat, you know, 22 turnovers for IPFW. Tough to win ball games when your turnovers are that high. Also 9 of 6 from the free throw line. Got to hit your free throws down the stretch. Just all in all, IPF, they played well. They started off the game. The intensity was there. The defensive intensity especially was there. Liked what I saw from the start. But again, just a team like Middle Tennessee State, they're going to hang around. They're going to go on some runs, and you've got to sustain those.
Three-point shooting dropped off there in the second half. Bo Bauer did end up with 7 three-pointers and 13 tries. You'll take that percentage any game. But the Dons just 3 of 11 in the second half from three-point land, when I believe they were, as I check my notes over here, 5 out of 9 in that first half. But you can't expect to keep up that kind of pace. So final score, the Blue Raiders, I should say, 66-61. We will take a timeout, have our final wrap-up when we come back. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
You know we love kids, and I've made a decision that will totally change my life. Cameron's too. It's a huge responsibility, leading someone into, who knows, communication or science or math. That's what life's all about, right? Learning so you can pass on knowledge to younger minds. Dad, Mom, I want to be a teacher.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
What's ahead for the future of Northeast Indiana? One answer lies with the graduates of our fine area colleges and universities. Hi, I'm Phil Laux, president of the Greater Fort Wayne Chamber of Commerce. And when you support an area college or university, you support the economic growth and development of where we live. Graduates of these higher education institutions are working hard to grow our local economy. I urge you to support your area university or college with your time, your talent, and your treasure. Our college grads are a vital part of Northeast Indiana's continued success.
How does a business become one of Northeast Indiana's 50 best places to work? How can you show your support for higher education and gain the ear of Indiana's lawmakers? Why is an IPFW history professor involved in a college textbook project in Albania? You'll get the answers to these questions and much more on this month's edition of IPFW Up Close. You can see it Sundays at noon on College Cable Access Channel 56.
And we'll welcome you back to the Memorial Coliseum. Pat Hoffman along with Brad Knoll, and joined now by the other Knoll, Coach Knoll, Coach Doug Knoll with us. Coach, final score 66-61. Middle Tennessee State, a very good team. Just your thoughts on the game. You guys fought hard, I thought, tonight.
Yeah, we did. We battled, and if I could get a tape recorder right now, Pat, and just play it over and over, it always comes up turnovers, doesn't it? And when you have 22 turnovers, you know, that's 22 times you don't get a shot off, and it's less than 2 possessions. You know, that's a tough night, and the kids worked hard enough. They deserve to win, but until we correct the turnovers, you know, we're going to give games away like this. So they guaranteed what they could guarantee tonight, and that's to come out with a big effort, and they did that. They played their hearts out, but they've got to understand that when you're playing a team like this, I mean, they lose to Auburn by 4, they lose to Rice by 4. They're 10-4. They're a pretty good basketball team, and I thought we competed hard with them.
Those 22 turnovers you talk about, they led directly to 21 points, and considering that, the fact that you kept it as close as you did is kind of amazing.
Well, I just thought, you know, we battled all night, and you know, I thought Dave was very active. I thought Bo had a great night tonight, 22 points. You know, 5 rebounds or 4 rebounds, 5 assists. The turnover bug bit him a little bit, but we just got to stay with it. And you know, we do things like that. I'm pretty pleased. But how you grading this guy over here? That's what I want to know.
He's a chip off the old block. It's like having a coach right over here on the floor. I can tell where he gets his basketball knowledge from. Did a fantastic job.
Well, good.
As you look at this, though, how do you keep the team morale up? Because obviously it's a 7th consecutive loss, and 3 of them here on the home floor, and all 3 of them games that could have gone either way. You lost one a 2-pointer, another one a 3-pointer in overtime, and tonight you lose a 5-pointer that was actually closer than the final score.
Well, the way I look at it, Pat, and you know, it tears your guts out, you know, but it's a game, and you know, we're here to educate these kids, to send them on their way, like we did this guy here. He had 4 pretty good years, and he's doing well in the community. We got a lot of kids in the community, and you know, I just look at it that what is our #1 goal? I think it's to educate the kids, get them through with some great experiences. You know, if you can win some games like this, great, but I think Brad will tell you too, when you go through things like this, the rest of life becomes pretty easy, and it prepares you. You know, there's more to life than basketball, but through basketball you learn a ton about life, and that's what we're trying to do. And yeah, I'm frustrated and everything, but I'll take this work ethic tonight. I'll take the emotion I saw in the locker room. I mean, it's like they really cared, and that's what I'm happy about. So, you know, those are the things that I've got to look at, and I think, you know, I appreciate all the fans that came out. It was a horrible night. It was on TV, so you know, a lot of fans weren't going to come out, and I'm glad you guys are here to provide them some entertainment too. But we just need to keep working, and for all the fans that came out, I hope they drive safe, and hope they make it back home. It was a terrible day, but it was a good night in here.
Coach, before we let you go, we'd be remiss without letting your son. I want to hear what question he has to ask for Dad here.
Well, I just got one question back to the game. When Steve Thomas goes out, doesn't play much throughout the game, but Bo is shooting the ball like he did throughout the first half. How do you kind of get him and Dave to play together and keep Dave happy with his touches without, you know, overutilizing Bo when he is on fire?
Well, I think, you know, it has to stem from post touches inside out. We're so much better when we get the ball inside and then kick it back out. I think Dave showed you that when he threw a pass back out to Jason Malone. And Jason knocked a 3 down, probably 8 minutes to go in the game. You know, with his broken wrist, it was hard for him to catch the ball. But I think those are the things that we have to look at. We have to get so many post touches a night. It's hard to create off the dribble because, as you saw, Middle Tennessee, they're so athletic and so quick. But Bo did a great job tonight with that, 7 of 13 from 3. But once you get it inside, if they double team, then Dave will get it to our guy that's open, and that's kind of how Bo did get a few threes tonight. And you know, we're confident that Dave can score inside, but if they double him, we'll throw it back out, and we're, you know, inside out is much better for us.
The folks will have a chance to see this game. It's going to be rebroadcast on Channel 56 coming up January 16th at 7 p.m. As far as the upcoming games, Coach, we just have a couple of moments here, but we take a look at the next 3 ball games that your team has for us. You got at Wyoming, that's going to be a long trip, then back home for Youngstown State, then at Kent State. The next home game, which will also be here on UPN 19, is against Youngstown State. In about 30 seconds or so, just your thoughts about the next couple of games for you.
Well, you know, I played basketball at Wyoming, so it's nice to go back out there. They're in the Mountain West. 2 years ago, we went out, Brad's senior year, had a great night. They were defending Mountain West champions. I think we lost the game by 10, but it was 2 at halftime. We really gave them a great game, about 12,000 people. Nothing to do out in Laramie except go to basketball or you know, just stay in your house. So most of them go out to basketball, but that'll be an interesting game and see what we can do on the road. We come back. Youngstown State's having troubles this year, you know, much like us, inconsistent. That's a game we must win, and it's right after the ACAC tournament, I think, at 3:30 in the afternoon. So a little difference on Saturday in the afternoon, but we got to go, and then Kent State a couple days later, and that's not going to be easy. But our schedule's not easy. I mean, you play this team to 4 or 5 points, and they're a pretty good basketball team. So everything is difficult. You just got to fight through it.
Well, Coach, we certainly want to wish you the best. We want to thank Comcast for providing us the fiber line tonight. Again, the final score, Middle Tennessee State gets the win. For Brad Knoll, for Doug Knoll, I'm Pat Hoffman. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
This telecast of IPFW Mastodon Basketball has been a production of IPFW Athletics in conjunction with UPN Fort Wayne.